They talking real loud, spreading no lie, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Got my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Propaganda swirling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. We keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules in this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In the heart of the struggle, we dare to dream. We keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track.
Another Queen Ahmadiyyah production.
Haze on the corner, they talking real loud, spreading no lie, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Got my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Propaganda's swirling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. We keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules in this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In the heart of the struggle, we dare to dream. We keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. Haze on the corner, they talking real loud, spreading no lie, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Got my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Propaganda's swirling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. We keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules in this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In the heart of the struggle, we dare to dream.
All right, hello everyone. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur show. I'm your host, Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur, and this is your Saturday Vitamins. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel. If you haven't done so already, be sure to click the notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. So I hope everybody is doing good today. All right, hey soul sister Hadassah. All right, let's get into it. G from the land, Buckhorst, DC, Nessa G. All right, let's get it popping. I see you, Leon. Al B. Chill is here. That crazy Beach Aries, Nubia Ra. All right, Lillian X. Leon. Ha! Lillian X, you are so messy, okay? I thought about when you said the other day, and I forgot to find it, but you said that Jack the Diva video throwback. Maybe I'll find it today, okay? Or tomorrow. I'll have it before the weekend, though. So anyway, that all being said, let's get ready to get into it. We the people. Okay, so everybody hit the like button. Hey, Alice. Everybody hit the like button. Don't forget to double check and make sure that you're still subscribed to the channel, especially if you have not been receiving your notifications. You all know that they just unsubscribe people on a regular, okay? And so that being said, I'm not going to keep you all too long, but so before we get into it, let's have a brief word from my sponsor at 12 Tribes. Here we go.
Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
So with that all been said, don't forget you can purchase 12 Tribes hair oil at Etsy.com. Just look for Lisa Crafts. Okay. And also don't forget you can purchase her products at Walmart.com. And she sells beard oil as well. Okay. So with that all being said, hold on, I'm trying to see something here. I find this all so interesting. Hold on. Why is this a 6 hour long video? Let me tell you all something. Let me tell y'all something. Y'all know the lamestream media just be copying the Queen's talking points. I am so serious. Okay, now didn't I just say all eyes on Iran the other day? Now they're talking about all eyes on Islamabad. Do y'all hear it? Did y'all hear what I just said? They need to sit down somewhere. Okay? All eyes on Islamabad. Alice says, Queen, did you not answer my email? You get your box. Oh, you sent me something? No, beloved, I didn't get it. I haven't been to the P.O. box. Okay, I'll go Monday. Thank you. All right, thank you, beloved. I'll go pick it up Monday, honey. All right. So, with that all being said, I'm trying to find one of these updates. They're all like 6 hours, and there's one live right now, but I didn't want to go to it because it started like 9 hours ago. Hold on. Okay, here we go. Let me see here. This one was 6 hours ago. Okay, Shehbaz Sharif meets JD Vance as UN Iran ceasefire talks behind in Islamabad. Let's go to this. I don't think it's going to turn out good for the U.S. And let me just tell you all something. If we ever thought that Bibi SATANyahu had Trump in a whole chokehold, in a whole headlock, just clearly punking him out, just clearly running him, okay, controlling the strings as though Trump were his puppet, he absolutely is. Now, he was talking and he happened to say that he instructed. Those are the words that he supposedly used. Okay, it was on X. He instructed. Why is he giving instructions to anybody in the U.S.? Okay, I want you all to pay attention. And then Trump's talking about completely cutting off trade to Spain. Why? Because SATANyahu is upset with Spain. All crazy. I just feel like this is treason. Okay, Trump needs to be, he just needs to be thrown in prison, and so does Bibi. Both of them are devils. Okay, let's get into it. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Okay, then we're going to talk about a little update, a couple of things about Melania. Kristi Noem's husband, not that anybody cares, but I just think it's funny, and I like dragging these MAGA idiots, okay, especially when Trump fires them or they get called out on their BS or they just want to jump the ship, okay, like Marjorie Taylor Greene, when they see Trump's not doing what they want him to do or what they thought he was going to do because he lied, but they didn't know he was a liar to begin with. Of course they did. So I just love to see it. Also, Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff have been accused of being Izzy assets rather than the U.S. assets. Duh. How long did it take them to figure that out? Okay. So that have been said, like, so everyone please like and share. Let's get into it.
And behind the scenes, and if I look at both Israel, both Iran and Americans as professional countries and forces, everybody must be preparing for 14 days to get over, rearmed, rested, prepared for the next stage to go on in case failed. So while this whole talks will go on, and as I said in the previous session, that the delegation, the way it has been organized by the Iranians, is very clear to me that they don't have to dial back to Iran to take confirmation, because each one of them come with expertise and they have come with clear directions. And oh, by the way, on a lighter note, They know if they dial back, there's a possibility of a strike going to nowhere. The people who are leading the talk from behind are hiding. Similarly, when J.D. Vance comes up, it also shows a very clear intent on the part of the Americans that they want a decision to happen. So it's not a probing delegation. It is a decisive delegation which comes duly empowered to take a call. Which part of the 10-point agenda is going to be tuned down or have to be gone?
Well, he seems relaxed, but he doesn't seem very comfortable, J.D. Vance. Now, what is going on in his mind? What's the American strategy? We don't know. There is a lot of ceremony the Pakistanis are making, and somehow they've got the Americans to land in Islamabad. Is that how they're going to look at it? The fact that, okay, they've come to our country, let's wheel and wiggle something out of them, because that's how the Pakistanis operate. Tara Kartaji is with us this evening. Tom Cooper is back with us. But we've got more news coming through. Let's just quickly update our viewers on the fact that the Americans have not agreed to release any Iranian frozen assets. So that's another update, saying a senior U.S. official has told CBS News that we are not releasing any Iranian assets, frozen assets, as of now. We are not doing it till the time the Strait of Hormuz is free and open for passage and the Iranians or the IRGC agree that there will be no more enrichment of uranium. We are not going to even consider unfreezing of assets. So there will be a lot of conversations that will happen. A lot of things will be floated, mooted from here and there. And this is all part of this entire shadow boxing exercise when talks are going on. But Tara Karta, with J.D. Vance and the American delegation present for more than 48 hours, will the Pakistanis try and wiggle something out beyond these entire talks? Or will the Americans tell the Pakistanis, you're poster boys, you're just host, just be that?
I don't think there's any space for them to wiggle anything out of these talks. These are likely to be extremely tense, extremely calculated. But I mean, they're not, I mean, I don't want to sound unkind, but I don't think they're really in the picture in this frame. And they're not trying to get in, but that's it. Number two, minor disagreement with the general. See, these...
Let me tell you all something. I find this all interesting. Let me just try to fact check this because I see something that it sounds very plausible, especially considering what we know about SATANyahu. Hold on. I have to check this because this has just popped up. Now, I'm quite sure the United States is going to deny this because they're always covering for SATANyahu. But hold on, honey, because I just found out something. Let me just see if I can get some information on this real quick. I'm going to put up another video for you all in just a second. I'm sending this to my email because this is absolutely nefarious. Okay? Absolutely nefarious. Let's see here. And I bet you this is probably absolutely true. America is going to pay on the front or the back end. It matters not until they do right by Black folks. You know the rest. Tell them so, sister, with their low-down selves. Okay, so let me get this video started for you all so I can see what's going on here because I don't even want to speak on this news if it's not true. Okay, but it's juicy. If it is true, it is so juicy. All right, and nefarious. Hold on, beloveds. It's all crazy.
Even with the vice president en route to Islamabad, Iran is signaling the talks may not happen as they added last-minute conditions before agreeing to meet. Vice President Vance sounded optimistic today as he left for direct talks with Iran.
We're looking forward to the negotiation. I think it's going to be positive.
What would a good deal look like for you?
No nuclear weapons. Number one.
Even so, President Trump warned the U.S. is loading up the ships with the best weapons ever made, and if there's no deal, we will be using them very effectively. The vice president said he received clear guidelines from the president.
If they're going to try to play us, then they're going to find that the negotiating team is not that receptive.
The meeting is in Islamabad, Pakistan, which is mediating between the two sides. The Iranian delegation arrived Friday night. CBS's Imtiaz Tayyab is there.
The stakes for Pakistan couldn't be higher as it hosts this event, which is on a scale rarely ever seen here before, and it's taking no chances.
Until recently, relations between the U.S. and Pakistan were strained, but Pakistani leaders' strong ties with President Trump, Tehran, and Gulf states made Islamabad the ideal location for the talks.
But Iran now says there are two issues that must be met before talks begin: the release of billions of dollars in frozen assets and a ceasefire between Lebanon and Israel. The president asked Israel to tone down its attacks, but it continues to strike. And Israeli and Lebanese officials are set to talk in Washington, but not until next week. Reopening the Strait of Hormuz remains a top Trump concern.
We will have that open fairly soon.
At least 12 ships passed through the waterway Wednesday and Thursday, down sharply from roughly 130 per day before the war. Higher energy costs are now a global concern. Today, British Prime Minister Keir Starmer, usually a Trump ally, lashed out.
I'm fed up with the fact that families across the country see their bills go up and down on energy, businesses' bills go up and down on energy because of the actions of Putin or Trump across the world.
Asked tonight if talks will extend beyond one day, the president said he'd have to wait and see how they go. As for whether he has a backup plan if the talks fail, the president said he doesn't need one because, quote, their military is gone. Tarika?
Ed O'Keefe for us at the White House. Thank you.
Even with the vice president en route to Islamabad, Iran is signaling the talks may not happen as they added.
Okay. Well, Iran has every right to ask for their demands to be met because the U.S. has already played them, okay, or at least tried to play them more than once. All right. And so I can't find anything to confirm that post, but it absolutely sounded plausible when you're dealing with devils like SATANyahu anyway. Now, with that all being said, okay, let's go on to this next report. So everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. And also, by the way, did you all hear how they wanted to, they're demanding that Trump, now here's how we're going to know Trump's been lying. I mean, we already know, but here's how we can prove it. So supposedly, they are demanding that y'all's president, not mine, here's a report from 2 hours ago, says we're in big trouble. Okay, House Dem slams Trump's Iran victory claims as ceasefire talks are under stress. Okay, and this is from MS Now, a credible source in my opinion. Now, with that all being said, let's just get into this. Okay, let's just get into this. We'll get to the rest later. So everyone, please don't forget to like and share. Thank you in advance.
In Islamabad, Pakistan, where U.S. and Iran delegations have gathered for what was supposed to be ceasefire negotiations to try to hammer out a deal to end the war that has brought chaos to the region and upended the world's energy markets. So far today, each delegation has met with Pakistani officials, but it appears direct negotiations between the United States and Iran have not even started. Two members of the Iranian delegation tell MS Now contributor Inzamam Rashid that, quote, talks will not start until a ceasefire is agreed in Lebanon. As of now, we haven't met with U.S. officials in Islamabad, but we have had extensive conversations with our Pakistani brothers and hosts and have relayed our position. As a backdrop to all of this, President Trump claimed this week that the U.S. had won a, quote, total and complete victory after agreeing to the 2-week ceasefire deal with Iran. But that supposed ceasefire remains on shaky ground, and it's hard to square Trump's assessment with the reality of the situation. Joining us now, Democratic Congressman Mike Quigley of Illinois. He is a member of the House Intelligence Committee. Congressman Quigley, welcome to the weekend. Let me read to you social media post from the president yesterday about Iran negotiations. And I'm quoting here, "The Iranians don't seem to realize they have no cards other than a short-term extortion of the world by using international waterways. The only reason they are alive today is to negotiate." President Donald J. Trump. I don't know, Congressman Quigley. From where I sit, it would appear that the Iranians have a whole lot more cards than the president is willing to publicly admit.
Did y'all hear that? Trump is the biggest idiot ever. Oh my God. It's just ridiculous, scary, and funny all at the same time. Now listen, he says they only have one card, and that's to extort everybody with the Strait of Hormuz. Now, the bottom line is Trump doesn't have any cards. That's why he's grasping at straws. That's why he's trying to beg other people that he already disrespected, and he's trying to get them to help. And then when they won't, he gets angry and wants to lash out like a little kid. Okay, what cards does he have? All right, now he did say that we don't need the Strait of Hormuz. So now why is he making it such a big focus of his negotiations? Why is that? He makes no sense. Okay, but let's continue.
Yeah, if this is victory, we're in really big trouble. When this conflict started, the strait was open. We hadn't lost service members. We hadn't spent $1 billion a day. We hadn't risked the extraordinary threat of escalation that's taking place. And oh, by the way, the regime is still in place. In fact, harder liners have taken hold than were in place at the beginning of this. And the nuclear weapon, the uranium they need for nuclear weapons, they still have that stockpile. So how this is a victory is just beyond comprehension. It's a president who wants to claim victory no matter what happens.
Congressman, Lebanon is said over and over again, before they got to, anyone went to Pakistan, that they didn't want to negotiate until there was a ceasefire of Israel bombing Lebanon. The United States delegation went, the Iranian delegation went. We are now at 9:00 a.m. our time, which is, I think, 6:00 there. The sides have not met. Each side has met with the Pakistanis, the brokers of whatever comes next. I'm a little bit confused why the administration would send anyone when the basis of the negotiation is that Lebanon is no longer being bombed by Israel. It seemed. Do you think we're getting played here? What is this is continuing to extend out quite a period.
Obviously, it depends on the good faith of Israel deciding not to continue the conflict in Lebanon.
Do you think they're going to?
Well, you would have thought that we would have figured that out, that we would have had an understanding and agreement with Israel, our ally here, before we sent people out to try to negotiate. And obviously, I think you look at what Iran is putting on the table so far and before the negotiations formally begin, and they are maximalist demands. I mean, if anyone thinks that these two sides are going to come together, they haven't been watching. This is a regime that has taken a massive pounding, and they're still fighting an asymmetric war. They still have the strait closed, and they still have a 1.5 million man army. So those threats are still there. If we thought we had victory, we weren't paying attention. If they think they're going to come to some long-term agreement here, what is our demands here? What do we really want? You know, the fact is we had Iran in compliance with the JCPOA, a treaty I supported, in which they were not moving forward to build nuclear weapons. Trump pulled out of that unilaterally. So he has created this. Obviously, this is a horrific regime, but the president has only made the situation far worse.
Congressman, the assessment that you just made, that this, if you're paying attention, is not a victory by any means. If you're looking at objectives Trump has demanded and whether or not they've been met, that is now being echoed by Fox News anchors even. Let's listen to Lawrence Jones, who this week called out Trump's failure to achieve any of the objectives he's laid out so far.
But I will say that the president's demands We have not reached any of those objectives. I have full confidence that the president is going to find some way to make this happen. But he said that we want to dismantle all major nuclear facilities. That has not happened. The end of uranium enrichment on the soil, they're still enriching. The transfer of the enriched uranium stockpiles out of Iran, that hasn't happened. The acceptance of intrusive international inspections, they're still not willing to do that. And they have not suspended their ballistic missiles program. They're still firing them off to stop the production of the long-range missiles. That's just a few of them on the president's proposal.
This is what happens to your face as you age. Your facial.
Two questions for you. As a member of the House Intelligence Committee, have you been briefed recently? When was the last time you were briefed on what the objectives of this administration are? And when it's laid out like that, I mean, it's hard not to deduce that the potential endgame long-term deal that is going to be negotiated here is going to look something strikingly similar to what the JCPOA looked like and what the Trump administration was critical of, which is tens of billions of dollars of incentives to the Iranians and ease sanctions.
Yeah, let me clarify a few things. I get briefed about what's taking place in Iran on an ongoing basis, but the fact of the matter is the president changes his mind every 12 hours as to what the objectives are. So there's a lack of meaning in what can come from that. But I also think you have to go back to why we see the Fox commentators speaking the way they are. The president's campaign promise was they were going to get a handle on inflation and there were going to be no new wars. In one fell swoop, he blew all those away. If anyone thought we were going to meet these objectives without full-scale war, not just some troops on the ground, this is going to take a full-scale war with every bit of our armies and military's capabilities going to Iran and engaging there. And I'm not even sure we can win.
And that's what I was just about to say. That's what I was just about to say, that even if you do all of that, you're still going to lose. Okay, Trump just needs to send everybody home at this point already. Now let's go. Let's go look at this clip. I want to get through this because I want to get to this other stuff that's a whole lot more interesting right now. Let's get to this clip. Conservatives are furious at SATANyahu. Let's get to this clip. This is from Young Turks. Okay. I'm going to put an overlay on here, because I love when Sync goes in on them.
That outed Donald Trump as having been convinced by Benjamin Netanyahu to try to remove Lebanon from the points of consideration in the Iran ceasefire deal was hardly well received by some of Donald Trump's, at least at one point, allies in the media on the right. Now, many of them are harsh critics of his and him of them. Let's start with Megyn Kelly, who he recently called a low IQ failure.
I don't know how we got here, Piers. I'd like to know just as much as anybody else, but all I can think in my head, based on what I've read in the paper, is we got here thanks to Bibi Netanyahu, Lindsey Graham, and Mark Levin. And ultimately President Trump. That's not to take agency away from the president, who was bamboozled. I don't know why. He was too weak to say no. He was too gullible to see through the lies. One way or another, he allowed himself to be pushed into this insane conflict.
Now, let me tell you how Trump got pushed into this. Because, hold on. This is YouTube emailing me, y'all. Anyway, this is YouTube emailing me. But anyway, listen. So here's the thing. The bottom line is, here's how Trump got fooled into it, because Trump is, in fact, a fool. And he was in the room with another bunch of fools, people like Keg's Breath. Okay, I'm not sure if J.D. Vance was there, but there was there was Keg's Breath there with him, and Mark Rubio. Now, when SATANyahu walked in to talk him into this whole war, he brought his advisors and everybody with him. He had a whole gang of people. They walked up in there like the mob. Okay, they sat down around the table like he was the godfather, okay, SATANyahu. And he told Trump what it was. Okay, and then everyone else in the room with Trump, Rubio, Cake's Breath, and I think there may have been one or two other people who are clearly just as stupid and obtuse. They basically just all sat there and didn't say a word. They didn't dare to tell Trump in front of SATANyahu that this is not a good idea. Okay? They didn't dare to tell him anything negative in front of SATANyahu because really, I think everybody's literally scared of that man. I think everybody's literally scared of that man. Now, listen, I'm going to tell you all, let me turn this down. I'm going to tell you all let me just say this. Don't y'all find it funny that when ScrewTube is emailing me, why are they doing it every time I go live? Why did they start emailing me every time I go live? Well, I just think that's hilarious. But anyway, I almost got distracted. Now, so with that all been said, these people act like they're all afraid of him, okay? And nobody wants to put him in check. Nobody wants to say anything. And they sat there and let him manipulate Trump, which is not easy to do. All you have to do is, like I said, stroke his ego, make him think this is going to make him be deemed a hero in the eyes of the American public. Okay, make him look like this is going to help him build his legacy. It's going to be so quick and easy. Like I told you, when that fool came out and said it's only going to take 4 to 5 days. That's when we all should have known he was ridiculously stupid and misinformed. Okay? It's all bad for us at this point, but let's continue.
That cause forget, the blood and treasure we spilled. As you point out, at least 15 service personnel. I believe we're being lied to about the total number of dead and wounded.
This is a new heat pump system that we just installed, and they're absolutely taking.
So she doesn't necessarily go as far as you might in terms of describing the relationship, although clearly she believes it's possible he's being manipulated or whatever, and she's feeling a little bit more open to insult him, talking about his weakness and that sort of thing. Bear in mind, she also said earlier this week that if he were to nuke a country, she'd still vote for him. So it's not like she's a totally Trump derangement syndrome critic of his. She's okay with quite a bit that he might do, but she can also identify that it doesn't seem like these are two equals, let alone us being like a superior in the alliance that we have. So that's Megyn Kelly. We also have Benny Johnson.
We don't want some other nation to walk into our White House and to lie about an operation to our president. And that's what happened. That's what Israel did here. It's unforgivable as far as I'm concerned. So it shouldn't happen anyway. I think that Bibi Netanyahu should be banned from the White House as far as I'm concerned. Along with any other world leader like that behaves in a duplicitous fashion. And Zelensky should be on that list, obviously.
Yeah, maybe not obviously, but we're going to disagree on quite a lot. Cenk, what do you make of their views?
Yeah, so look, this is why I'm frustrated by the polls. It's a story we'll get to later in the show, but now all of a sudden people are pulling polls out of their ass, pretending that there's no right-wingers dissatisfied with what Trump is doing. I mean, I have eyes and ears, you have eyes and ears. Benny Johnson, Megyn Kelly, Tucker Carlson, later Tim Pool, Alex Jones, the center. We're going to show that throughout the show today. They don't have millions of viewers. No one follows them. This is, of course. Look, and then let's say that it's not blackmail for a second. Then okay, Trump is the most gullible idiot we've ever had. Then you have to agree with me. He's the dumbest guy to ever hold office. Because Netanyahu says to him, "Oh, why don't you ruin the peace deal you just made?" And he goes, "Oh, okay." And he doesn't understand that that's going to cost us $2 million a ship in the Strait of Hormuz. He said that he got convinced by the Israelis that the Strait of Hormuz wouldn't get closed. Everyone knew that if you started a war with Iran, that they would close the Strait of Hormuz. But apparently Trump says he's so dumb that the Israelis talked him into not realizing that. And the Israelis told him that the Iranians would not attack our bases in the Gulf. And Donald Trump said after the war started, well, nobody expected them to attack our bases in the Gulf. I did. Literally every expert on the war did. So the best possible explanation for Donald Trump is that he is a moron of epic proportions. Because the only other explanation is when Netanyahu calls and says jump, he says, "How high, master?" Because Netanyahu has something on him. By the way, Asimov Prophet's a member of ours on TYT.com. And he made an excellent point that I hadn't thought of before. He just wrote in, not releasing the Epstein files at this point is a national security threat because of the blackmail against Trump. Now, we don't know that there's blackmail against Trump, but any rational person realizes that that's a possibility. So because of that possibility, you're absolutely right. If we don't know what's in the Epstein files, we don't know what might be being held against our president or other politicians in this country. So we have to know it. Otherwise, it's a national security threat. But of course, they're not going to be released either. You're going to be shocked to find out Israel is against releasing the Epstein files. Gee, I wonder why, right? And if you don't know, Epstein in every deal was trying to help Israel, procuring cyber weapons for them. He taped all, he had video cameras all across his house, including in the tissue boxes, which leads us to Tucker Carlson and his theory on blackmail.
Exactly. Yeah, we don't have like that in detail ready to go, but he has been talking sort of in response to a story that's going to be on the show later on, where Donald Trump just broadsided like everyone in MAGA media. Tucker Carlson just run it in a couple different ways, and one of those is going to be the belief that this is possibly the result of blackmail coming from Israel.
Yeah, and guys, look, how did Netanyahu know about Monica Lewinsky before anyone else? I mean, there's only two possible answers. One is she was working with them and it was a honey trap operation. I know mainstream media reporters are so stupid that they don't understand that a honey trap operation is the #1 go-to move for any intelligence agency. They think that it's the thing that doesn't even exist and couldn't possibly be done to Americans. Because American politicians are so holy and moral, they'd never fall for a young girl, except for the fact that we know Bill Clinton did. Okay, now I'm not saying Monica was, I have no idea, okay? But the other possibility is that Israel has the White House, has other things bugged to no end. And they know everything that we're saying. And given that they've stolen our top secrets through Jonathan Pollard, given that they've stolen our nuclear secrets, that's also a high likelihood. But every time you say these things that are demonstrable facts, mainstream media says, shut up. Never ask the government any questions that challenges them. Never ask Israel any questions. Never wonder if our president is being blackmailed. What, you're not even allowed to ask that question? Isn't that super weird? Why is our president acting so strange in regards to one particular country? Why is he doing things that are demonstrably against his own interests and against his own policies? And if you say it's illegitimate to ask those questions, that's your problem, man. We're going to keep asking them and asking them. And you could now, and I think that even the phrase conspiracy theory was concocted as a brilliant piece of propaganda for if anyone ever questioned any official government statement, you call them a conspiracy theorist so that no one ever questions the official government statements. So I think our media has been in the business of covering up the news for decades. I think that they cover for Israel at every turn. You should never believe them. They're gigantic liars. And yes, there's something deeply wrong with how President Trump always listens to Netanyahu.
Yeah. Yeah, sort of shocking, actually, my final point, that CBS was the ones that actually came out with this. I don't know if they'll be allowed to do like a 60 Minutes.
I'm so sick of Trump and his stupidness. Okay. And then, yeah, he does always do what SATANyahu tells him to do because that's his daddy, apparently. Now, let's talk about his cognitive abilities, because now they're saying, that's why I was laughing, because Raskin has called for Trump to take cognitive tests in the wake of Iran threats as Democrats question his fitness. Now, it's about darn time, and he should be more than willing to do it, because after all, didn't he himself tell us, in fact, that he scored the highest that anyone had ever scored in the history of cognitive tests? Didn't Trump say that? Didn't Trump say that? Hold on for a second, you guys. Hold on for just a second. All right. I had to plug my fan up, honey. I turned the AC down and I started getting hot. Okay, so now with that all being said, let's talk about it. Let's get into it because they're demanding, okay? Unless he wants them to invoke the 25th Amendment, which is what they're saying they want to do. Now, Representative Jamie Raskin is calling on the White House physician to conduct a cognitive test of President Donald Trump amid his heightened rhetoric over the U.S. war with Iran. Now, the Maryland Democrat joins a growing chorus of Democratic lawmakers and some right-wing personalities who have expressed concern in recent days over the president's approach to and public statements on the conflict. Democrats in particular have questioned Trump's fitness for office. Now, I know this has to humiliate Trump because let us not forget that Trump was going in so hard on Joe Biden. Y'all remember that? How he was going in on call him Sleepy Joe and all of that. He's still talking about Joe until this day, as a matter of fact. And I think I have the clip. Okay, but anywho, I just love this for him. And so anyway, goes on to say in recent days, the country has watched President Trump's public statements and outbursts turn increasingly incoherent, volatile, profane, deranged, and threatening. Now, this is what Representative Raskin said. He's a top Democrat on the Judiciary Committee. So he actually wrote a letter that was obtained by CNN. Now, Raskin pointed to a number of reasons, okay, for raising his concerns, including Trump's expletive-ridden Easter Sunday post calling on Iran to open the Strait of Hormuz, and his comments to children about the Iran war at the White House Easter egg roll. Do you all remember that? Did y'all know that? Did I show you all that video with the fool? Was sitting there talking to the poor little children on Easter. They were there for the Easter egg hunts, and he was telling them about the war. Did y'all see that? What's in the chat? Please tell me I showed that to you all. This idiot sitting there talking to little children, mind you, who still believe in the Easter bunny no less. And he is trying to tell them about the war. Now that just lets you know this fool will vent to anybody, okay? Absolutely cannot. But let's continue. And so anyway, it goes on to say, listen, he pointed out a number of reasons raising concerns, including him sitting there talking to children Easter Sunday, talking to the children about the Iran war at the White House Easter egg roll, and his statement that a whole civilization will die tonight if Iran did not agree to his terms under the ceasefire. Now, while unlikely to yield much of a result, the president, after all, often boasts about acing cognitive tests, and the White House physician declared him in excellent health, he says. Well, we want to see those darn receipts. Now, this was at his annual physical, he claims. Okay, so the letter comes in as many in the Democratic Party and even some notable MAGA figures, mind you, have gone so far as to suggest that Trump should be removed through the 25th Amendment or impeachment. So to successfully remove Trump as president, a majority of his cabinet and his vice president would have to move to invoke the 25th Amendment, and there are no indications any cabinet officials are considering that. Okay, or that Vice President J.D. Vance would be on board. Now, Raskin, who was set to lead a briefing. I'm sorry, I don't have on my glasses. Who was set to lead a briefing for House Democrats about the 25th Amendment on Friday, said at a time when our country is at war, especially when the war was initiated by the president without congressional declaration or even consent, the American people must be able to trust that the commander-in-chief has the mental capacity to discharge the essential duties of his office. Please tell me he doesn't know where the buttons are, the codes are for the nuclear missiles. Please tell me he doesn't have those nuclear codes, okay? Please say they hid them. I know they're probably in the Oval Office, if I'm not mistaken, but I just hope that they're hidden and tucked away somewhere that he Please tell me he doesn't know those codes. Okay, now goes on to say, I therefore request that you conduct a comprehensive cognitive assessment of President Donald J. Trump. Provide those results to Congress and make yourself available to brief Congress on your findings. Did y'all hear it? They say CNN has reached out to the White House for comment. I'm sure there's no word back. Raskin argued that Republicans had helped to set a precedent for him to make such a request. Now, House Republicans wrote that they had focused on former President Joe Biden's apparent cognitive decline and interviewed Biden's White House physician. They said Republicans and Democrats alike have recognized that presidential cognitive fitness is a matter of urgent and essential public concern and that it warrants rigorous congressional oversight. Here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that they need to stop these old RS people from becoming presidents. Okay, now, I know they have an age requirement or whatever, but they need to take it down a notch. Okay, I think that you should not be able to run for president if you're older than 65. What do you all think? Once in the chat, you should not be able to run for president when you're almost 80. I'm sorry. Joe Biden and Trump are proof of that. Okay? They're proof of that. And let us not forget that allegedly, according to reports, Trump's father or his grandfather had Alzheimer's. You know, that can be genetic. So you all agree. Okay, that's what I'm saying. Annette said over 60. I'm saying 65 should be the limit. You should not be able to run after you're 65. So Kamala, if you're going to run, you better hurry up. Okay? Because Kamala's what, like 60, maybe 61? She said that she just might run in 2028. But I'm going to tell y'all right now, they need not have anybody else up in there, okay? Who's as old as Trump and Biden were, all right? Because this is just not working out for us. And if we have to start, I'm just saying, this is the second time we've had this to happen, okay? So if we have to sit here and be concerned about whether or not they're losing it, whether or not their cognitive abilities are accurately working, now, we have to be concerned about whether they have full-on dementia or the beginning stages. No, it's time to stop this madness. Okay, it is time to stop this madness. Now, with that all being said, goes on to say, hold on, what's this about? Threats? Hold on, beloveds, I'm trying to find my place. Republicans and Democrats alike recognize that presidential cognitive fitness is a matter of urgent and essential public concern and that it warrants rigorous congressional oversight. Now, calling former President Joe Biden's mental acuity one of the greatest no, they didn't. Y'all, y'all, do y'all know what they just said? Laughing. These people are so nefarious. God, please help me stop laughing. Oh, funny. Oh my God. Oh, my stomach hurts. Do y'all hear me? Oh, yeah, I cannot. Wrote this article. Oh God, let me have a sip. Please hold on for a second. Oh, I need to take a sip of tea. Mm-mm. 'Cause I know they did not say that about poor little old Joe Biden. Not breathe. They are so wrong for this. Okay, let me tell you what they said. My ribs. Oh Lord. Anyway, here's what they said. Oh God, I'm wasting time. I've got to pull myself together. Oh my God. Oh, y'all. Listen, listen. Here's what they said about Carla Low Joe Biden. They are low down and dirty for this. Okay, let me just. Here's what they said. This is just wrong on so many levels. They said, let me try to get myself together. Okay, so they said Republicans and Democrats alike have recognized that presidential cognitive matters or fitness is a matter of urgent and essential public concern, and that it warrants rigorous congressional oversight, calling former Joe Biden's mental health acuity one of the greatest scandals. Joe Biden's mental acuity one of the greatest scandals in our nation's history. Did y'all hear that? Oh my God, no, they did not. Now, first of all, did they forget about the Epstein files? What? Did they forget about what Melania just did days ago? But they're literally going to say that Joe Biden's mental acuity is the greatest scandal that our nation has ever had in history? What about Nixon and Watergate? Now, I know darn well Joe Biden is somewhere punching the air, okay? Ooh, like Trey on Boys in the Hood. Now, why would they say that? That was really out of pockets. Okay, that was just out of pockets. Anyway, let me continue. Do they really think that? That's crazy. Okay, let me continue because this is all nefarious. So anyway, it goes on to say, one of the greatest scandals in our nation's history. Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer actually subpoenaed the White House physician and issued a comprehensive staff report on the subject. He went on to say that Judiciary Committee Chairman Jordan declared a president who is not cognitively fit isn't fit for office. He said, I trust that both chairmen will stand by this important principle today with the country in an uproar over the president's recent fulminations and mad threats. Not fulminations. Oh my God, I don't know who is being paid to write these nefarious articles as of late, but they just get more and more dramatic and theatrical as the days go by. Oh my goodness. They said that was the biggest scandal in this nation's history. Poor Joe Biden. They're just low down for that. Now, with that all being said, let's continue because let's get into where they talk about, oh no, let's go to this, this about SATANyahu. Let's go to this report about SATANyahu. Likes up, everybody. Please like and share. I'm sorry for having a laugh. So ridiculous to me. How could you dare say that that man's cognitive acuity is the biggest scandal out of all the stuff? I mean, did they forget about Bill Clinton and Lewinsky? Hillary's emails, even. That's the worst. Let's continue. Like up, everyone. Please like and share. I absolutely cannot.
Just issued a direct and blunt warning to Spain for the first time in history. This comes after the Spanish Prime Minister was constantly attacking Israel and everything connected to Israel relentlessly on all occasions. Netanyahu is not holding back. He's reminding Spain that all options are on the table: military, diplomatically, or outright confrontation. In a fiery statement, Netanyahu declared that Israel will not remain silent in the face of what he calls repeated hostility from Spain. He went even further, describing the Israeli military as the most moral army in the world, while accusing Spain of slandering its soldiers.
Did y'all hear that? SATANyahu said that his military, which is the IDF, mind you, that we've seen them do all manner of nefarious things. I just reported to you all about a week or two ago how they R-worded, gang R-worded that man, that Palestinian man, and then put a knife up his you-know-where, and then he had to have surgery. But he says they're the most moral military. I literally saw a video this morning. It's on my X account right now. But I literally saw a video this morning where they shoved a teenager, Palestinian. He may not even have been a teenager, but it said Palestinian youth. He looked to have been maybe between the age of 13 to maybe 17, I guess. But they shoved him off of a rooftop. He was clinging on, trying so desperately to cling on, and they kept shoving and kicking him and pushing him until he finally fell. And when he did fall, they didn't even go look over, I don't think. They just turned around and casually walked off, like they were going to grab a bite to eat. But they have morals. Clearly, his definition of morals and ours are totally different. But let's continue.
Here's where it escalates fast. Netanyahu has now ordered the expulsion of Spain's representatives from a key coordination center in Kiryat Gat. That's not just symbolic, that's a direct diplomatic hit, signaling that relations are entering dangerous territory. He also made it clear, any country that chooses to attack Israel politically instead of confronting what he calls terrorist regimes will not be treated as a partner in shaping the future of the region. And then came the warning, clear, sharp, and unmistakable. Any nation that continues down this path against Israel should expect to pay an immediate price.
ישראל לא תשתוק מול מי שתוקף אותנו. ספרד הכפישה את גיבורנו, את חיילי צה"ל, חיילי הצבא המוסרי ביותר בעולם. ולכן הנחיתי היום לסלק את נציגי ספרד ממרכז התיאום בקריית גת, לאחר שספרד בחרה שוב ושוב להתייצב נגד ישראל. מי שתוקף את מדינת ישראל במקום את משטרי הטרור, מי שעושה זאת, לא יהיה...
That man is just a mess. Absolutely a whole mess. I can't stand him. Okay, I can't stand him. And there's an Austrian painter that, in my opinion, is nowhere near as nefarious as him. Just nowhere near. Because you see, if you commit acts that are nefarious, that some would deem as nefarious, you know, sometimes maybe those actions have a good intention or a good reason to be done. But in SATANyahu's case, never. Never. Okay? Going to war is nefarious. Okay, no country should want to go to war, but if a war is imposed upon you, then you have a right to defend yourself. And by doing so, you're engaging in nefarious actions, but it is you have a right to. Okay, so but at the end of the day, SATANyahu starts stuff wherever he goes. Now, how are you sitting up here having a full-on launch to war on Iran at the same time trying to commit genocide on Lebanon? In my opinion, that's what it looks like. It looks like he's trying to do the same thing there that he did in Gaza. Okay, and now you're threatening Spain because you're mad because they called you out on your BS. So I'm sorry, they must have forgotten. Maybe Spain didn't get the memo, but you can't talk trash about him. Okay, and his nefarious demonic soldiers who march in lockstep to the tune of his demonic and satanic orders. Let's continue.
This New York Times article about how Trump got talked into the war in Iran by Bibi Netanyahu and was not dissuaded because no one in his cabinet is willing to tell him the truth. You have to read it. But here's the TLDR. Back in February, on the 11th, Netanyahu comes to the White House. They go into the Situation Room, which is not a place that foreign leaders almost ever go. And Netanyahu has an entire team of advisors behind him on screen, and they present Trump with their reasons for why Trump should join Israel in a war against Iran. Who's in the meeting with them? Susie Wiles, Chief of Staff, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, Pete Hegseth.
I want you to pay attention because this right here, the fact that they had that meeting, SATANyahu comes in with his team of advisors and sits down, lays out the rules, and tells him this is why you need to. That means that this is who started this war. That means that you did it for them. Now, I want you all to think about the lies. Oh, it was for regime change. Oh, it was because they were killing the protesters. Oh, we need the oil. We need to free the people of Iran. No, it's because SATANyahu came and sat right there and told you to do it, and you did it. Okay, now how is that not a problem for the United States? Are we going to continue to be bullied by the devil himself? Is that how this goes? Is that how this goes? I have several questions because apparently it is.
Seth, General Dan Kane, John Ratcliffe, Jared Kushner, Steve Witkoff. This is the team listening to this presentation. Netanyahu basically makes a hard sell, saying that Iran is ripe for regime change. A joint mission could bring him to an end real quick, pointing to near certain victory. Iran's ballistic missile program could be destroyed in a few weeks. The regime would be so weakened it could not choke off the Strait of Hormuz. The likelihood that Iran would land blows against U.S. interests in neighboring countries was assessed as minimal. Donald Trump's response sounds good to me. Now, there was a meeting the next day with U.S. intelligence analysts, and they had a different take on what Netanyahu had said. The CIA director used one word to describe the Israeli prime minister's regime change scenarios: farcical. But when Trump asked General Kane, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, who has an enormous amount of influence in this area, what he thought, he was just non-committal. Translate that as cowardly. At no point during the deliberations did the chairman directly tell the president that war with Iran was a terrible idea, even though some of his colleagues believed that was exactly what he thought. And that was the way it played out with every single advisor in the room. Rubio was ambivalent, but did not try to talk Mr. Trump out of the operation. Susie Wiles had concerns, but did not try to talk Trump out of the operation. J.D. Vance had major concerns, but in the end said, if you want to do it, I'll support you. And that is how we found ourselves in a war that has so far cost $45 billion minimum, killed minimum of 13 U.S. service members, injured around 350, killed thousands of people overseas, including hundreds of children, jacked up prices, dangerously depleted our artillery stores, put a more hardline leader in power, and is not over yet. This is a disgraceful lack of leadership, not only on Trump's part, but on everybody in his circle of advisors, none of whom were willing to tell him the truth. And a special mark of shame, of course, goes to Bibi Netanyahu, Trump's best friend, who is, as we speak, pounding Lebanon with bombs and has no intention of ending this war. This is what happens when you have a weak president and an even weaker team of advisors who will not tell him no in the face of sure catastrophe. Not good. If you haven't read,
I want you all to pay attention. Now, with that all been said, if you may remember, 2 weeks ago, SATANyahu said the quiet part out loud. He said the U.S. doesn't decide when this war with Iran is over. He said that they do. I'm sorry, what? That's what he said, that they decide when it's over, not the United States. See, Trump doesn't have any say-so with this man. Now, let's go to this clip, and I know I've shown you all this before, but I want to refresh your memory. This is SATANyahu lying as usual. Okay, this man lies probably just as much as Trump, if not more so. Now, pay attention to the dates. This is 1995. Iran has been just weeks away from a nuclear weapon for 30 plus years, according to SATANyahu.
Will be capable of producing alone, without importing anything, nuclear bombs within 3 to 5 decades. Ladies and gentlemen, time is running out. Bomb. Iran is gearing up to produce 25 bombs, atomic bombs a year, 250 bombs in a day. They're very close. They're 6 months away from being about 90% of having the enriched uranium for an atom to do it.
Iran is so dangerous. Weeks away from having the fissile material for an entire arsenal of nuclear bombs.
They have the wherewithal, the stored up, preserved knowledge to make a bomb very quickly if they wanted.
If not stopped, Iran could produce a nuclear weapon in a very short time. It could be a year. It could be within a few months.
Now, he's been saying that for 30 plus years. Okay, please pay attention. How does anybody continue to fall for the BS? This man has been lying this whole time. And here's how they should have known he was lying at any rate, because he was saying things so specifically. But I want you to pay attention, because that just speaks to what sort of liar he is. He too is a pathological liar, just like Trump. He's also a malignant narcissist. You all notice that? And a psychopath. Both he and Trump are genocidal maniacs, psychopaths, and extreme malignant narcissists, in my opinion. Now, with that being said, when he's using these very specific terms and wording, when he's saying things like, they can have it in just a couple of weeks, they're just 6 months away, they can build it very quickly. How does he know any of this? Is he consorting with them? Is someone on the inside, a mole, being planted to come back and give him this information? Or are we supposed to just take him at his word? You see, that's the thing about him. Whatever he says is what goes. As far as he's concerned, I don't need to show you any proof or receipts. All I need to do is tell you. Okay, and there are many people, sadly, who feel the same way that he feels. And you should know this, because think about when I showed you the video of Rabbi Shmuley, who was on the street lying on that man, saying that man had threatened his life and tried to attack him and all of that, went right over to the police and demanded the man be arrested just because he said so. The police didn't have one bit of evidence, nor did he provide any. But oh, he said this. And then come to find out, because it was all on camera, thank God, that it wasn't even what he said. And then let's not forget how they lied on the Al Jazeera reporters in the UK. So I'm sorry, you just get to say what you want to say, and everyone should just bow down and believe it. If not, they're anti-Semitic. You know what we should do, beloveds? We should start calling everything, people, listen, when people are saying hateful things about us, we too should say that it's anti-Semitic, okay? Because we're the Israelites, all right? And that's what we should start doing. In fact, that's what I'm going to start doing, period. Okay, if they can throw it around so cavalierly, SATANyahu can, I'm going to do the same exact thing.
Showing that the entry into the war was because Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner were Israeli assets who wanted to attack Iran. This is from the British National Security Advisor. This is not from me. This is not from some random person on the internet. This is from a guy who puts his face on it, who's with the British government, and says that it was the official British government's position and belief, again, that Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner were working to benefit the Israelis and not the Americans, and that there was a deal on the table better than the JCPOA, nuclear deal that Obama got, the best deal ever, okay, to basically wipe out voluntarily Iran's nuclear program, and they rejected it. And they walked away because they wanted, on behalf of Israel, to try to destroy Iran, even if it destroyed America in the process. This is treasonous. It's disgusting. And these people who are billionaires and who are corruptly making all this money, and Witkoff and Kushner have also screwed over Ukraine. They care about, what Israel wants. They care about what Russia wants. And they should absolutely spend the rest of their life in prison. This breaking.
I'm sorry, but don't they offer the death penalty for treasonous devils? Don't they offer the death penalty for that? Let me look it up. With that I've been said, it absolutely is treasonous. I've been telling you all this, and I also told you all, if you remember, I told you about 3 weeks ago when the war first started, and we found out that it was Jared Kushner, who has no official title, okay, within the administration, and he and Witkoff went over to have those peace talks, is what they called it. And then they came back and told Trump, oh, no, we need to go to war. Don't you all remember that I told you right then and there that they were lying? I said, I'll bet you they went over there and talked to those people, and the people probably were trying to make arrangements or agreements or whatever, and they probably just came back and lied and told Trump, yeah, they want to go to war, or we need to go to war. I told you all they were lying. Okay, Trump is so stupid. But let's go to this next clip where they say SATANyahu says that his people will target the family members of besieged members. Okay, raising war crime questions. Honey, there's no questions. There is no questions of war crimes, honey, at this point. There are absolutely crimes of war. Okay, no need to question it at all. As far as I'm concerned, we already know what he's done, and that's why he's already got warrants out for his arrest. And I want you all to pay attention. How dare a person who has already been charged with war crimes and crimes against humanity, who has warrants against him? There are countries that if he dares to go, he will in fact be arrested. But so how dare a person such as that to act as though they have some moral high ground, and as if they can demonize and vilify another nation? Okay, please Pay attention. This is all sick.
Netanyahu just proudly admitted to going after the family of besieged members, which is a direct violation of international law. Take a look.
We've managed to prove that we can hunt them down wherever they are. They have nowhere to hide. We've also targeted senior officials from the tyrant Khamenei until all the way to the family members of the besieged members.
International law is pretty clear about this. Family members of combatants or members of paramilitary groups like the besieged are considered civilians unless they themselves are taking a direct part in hostilities. Civilians may never be the object of an intentional attack. Geneva Convention 4 specifically protects civilians in times of war. Taking the lives of family members as a form of retaliation or deterrence constitutes collective punishment, which is, of course, a war crime. Additionally, Israel has repeatedly struck safe areas and even double-tapped a tent city where displaced civilians were trying to take refuge. They've taken the lives of tens of thousands of civilians across the Middle East with the imperialist Greater Israel mindset. It's never been about peace for them, and they're openly violating international law. Benjamin.
Just wicked and nefarious. Ooh, I absolutely cannot. But here's how you know Trump's crazy. Here's how you know Trump definitely needs to be forced to comply with taking those cognitive tests. Because this is a video about what Trump posted to his social media the other day. I do believe it was on, they have it dated April the 9th. Now, did you all hear about this? I want you all to pay attention to what this man posted on Truth Social.
Give Buck the news. As you guys can tell, I'm streaming. If you're in the stream right now, you see the paused screen. I'll flip the camera for a second. It's paused right here. Donald Trump just posted this video to his Truth Social. It is of a woman getting murdered. I don't know with what. It looks like it's a hammer. The president of the United States just posted this, and this is what the caption says. An illegal alien criminal from Haiti who was released into our country by the worst president in history, crooked Joe Biden, and the radical left Democrats in Congress just beat an innocent woman to death with a hammer at a gas station in Florida. The video of her brutal slaying is one of the most vicious things you will ever see. The animal was allowed to stay here because the Biden administration granted him and all Haitians temporary protective status. Is this what he's going to use to get rid of?
He has to do the most extreme thing possible.
A massively abused and fraudulent program, which my administration is working to terminate, but deranged liberal district court judges are standing in our way. This one killing should be enough for the radical judges to stop impeding my administration's immigration policies and allow us to end this scam once and for all. To my fellow Republicans and frankly all common sense Americans, never forget that Joe Biden and the Democrat Party turned the United States of America into a dumping ground, allowing tens of millions of criminals, lunatics, and mentally insane from all over the world to pour into our country totally unvetted and unchecked through our wide open borders. As I've said all along, if you import the third world, you become the third world. And this is what happened over the 4 years of Democrat control. We are rapidly trying to reverse this decline through deportations. But if Democrats are ever given another chance of power, holy fuck, he's using this as a midterm bid.
That's what he's doing.
God, dog.
That's exactly what he's doing, dirty dog.
But if the Democrats are ever given another chance of power, they will immediately reopen the border and allow America to once again be a safe haven for criminals. Please say a prayer for the innocent woman's family. We will ensure quick and severe justice is served in this case. I don't recommend you watch this tape. Then why the fuck would you post it?
Put it on there.
Oh my God, because it's so terrible, but felt I had an obligation to put it up so that people can see what Democrats are protecting and wanting to come into our country. Even now, after all we've been through, again, viewer discretion is advised.
Okay, I don't want to see. Now, this was a video of a woman being beaten to death with a hammer. But here's the thing. I want you all to pay attention. Now, Trump had the nerve to post that, and he absolutely did it, for midterms, to make it look like these are the devils that they're allowing in. But, honey, we already had devils here, and that's one person. That doesn't mean that they're all like that. And second of all, I remember, and you all should too, because I reported this to you, of a Caucasian man, okay, a few years ago, about 3 or 4. Do you all remember I showed you how that racist, hateful, wicked, nefarious Caucasian man went into a Chinese restaurant and beat, okay, at least 2 or 3 people to death, if I'm not mistaken, with a claw hammer? Do you all remember that for no good reason other than racism? Why didn't Trump post that video? Why did he post that? That was an American citizen who looked like him. He wasn't an immigrant. So I'm just saying, for everything you can find or say that some immigrant did, you can find someone who lives here, born here, okay, who did the same thing. And they could be of any race. There are criminals amongst every race, okay, no matter where they come from. So I find it all interesting, but this is what Trump is trying to do because he's desperately grasping at straws. Now, this is not going to work at the end of the day because, mind you, most of us are not as stupid as his base. They are the biggest fools on the planet, and that's a fact, not fiction. Okay? Please pay attention. Now, with that all being said, let's listen to this report from a day ago about ICE. Okay, what these devils have been up to as of late, because they have not gone anywhere, and we surely cannot take our eyes off of them.
Attempted arrest by ICE caught on video, and another public debate on what it shows. Dashcam video captured 36-year-old Carlos Mendoza Hernandez pulled over by ICE agents in the town of Patterson. You see him suddenly reverse and try to drive off as at least one agent opens fire. ICE says he weaponized his vehicle and tried to run over officers. Hernandez's family says he was scared and panicked. Another incident with familiar conflicting interpretations. ICE says agents reacted in self-defense. Hernandez's family says the agents are poorly trained and create these situations. Hernandez is recovering in a hospital. The FBI is now in charge of this investigation, and it'll be interesting to see which version ends up being seen as more credible.
We already know how that's going to work, the FBI. The FBI, the CIA, okay, anybody, okay, any government organization right now under Trump's leadership is not to be trusted. We shouldn't listen to a damn thing they have to say. I don't care which organization it is. Because all of these people are filled, all of these organizations are filled with Trump loyalists, not qualified people. Remember how they came in there, cleaned house with the FBI when they came in. Their first point of business was to get rid of James Comey. Okay, so I'm just saying, why should we listen to the FBI at this point? Or the CIA? Why are we listening to anything they have to say? I won't listen to anything, believe anything, until and only if and when Trump is out of office. And by the way, I had another vision about him lying in a shiny box with his eyes closed and his hands folded. Okay, I want y'all to pay attention. Y'all can think I'm joking if you want to, but I am not. Okay, the clock's ticking. The clock is ticking. Now, that all being said, let's continue. Like stuff, everyone, please like and share. Okay, now let's talk about Swalwell being accused. He just needs to drop out of the race at this point because clearly these accusations are just not looking good. I'm not saying that he did any of these things that they've alleged. I'm just saying that it is not a good look. And until people get clarification, they're not going to vote for him anyway, 9 times out of 10.
Confirmed that a former staffer is accusing California gubernatorial candidate and Democratic Congressman Eric Swalwell of sexual assault. According to the San Francisco Chronicle, the woman alleges Swalwell sexually assaulted her twice when she was too intoxicated to consent. The Chronicle corroborated those allegations by speaking to family and friends who say they heard about the alleged incidents contemporaneously. And
listen, I'm going to tell you all something. I don't know this man. All I know is he's running for governor of California, and at the end of the day, I just find it interesting that these stories are coming out at this time. Listen, let me just tell y'all, in my spirit, now I don't know this man like I said, but in my spirit, I feel like somebody's trying to set this man up. Okay, now there's like 3 people that have come out thus far, but in my spirit, something tells me, y'all know I have very good discernment. I don't know this man at all. I'm not going to say I like this man. I don't even know if he's a Republican or a Democrat, really. And don't really care because I don't live in California. But the bottom line is something in my spirit, when I first came across this story, told me that somebody's trying to trash this man's reputation because they don't want him to be the governor for whatever reason. Okay, so y'all saying Democrats. See, I haven't been paying attention to him. Like I said, I only started hearing about him when this story came out. But I'm telling you, my spirit, as soon as I heard, and I always go by my gut instincts, okay? I'm telling you, my spirit told me that they're trying to set this man up because they do not want him to be the governor. Now, like I said, I'll have to do some investigative research into him and see, you know, what his history is and, you know, what type of politics and policies he's talking about and all of that, just to see how he thinks or whatever. But at the end of the day, just right off the top from hearing about it, that's the first thing popped in my mind. That's what my spirit told me. So, but let's continue. Now, it could all be true. I'm not saying I'm 100% right, but I'm just telling y'all that's what my spirit
Quick
said.
reporting from CNN says 3 additional women allege sexual misconduct by the congressman, including Swalwell sending them unsolicited explicit messages or nude photos. MS Now has not independently confirmed those allegations. Congressman Swalwell has denied any wrongdoing. MS Now congressional reporter Michael Schnell joins us now with the latest. Michael, thank you for getting up this morning. I know
guys.
You were on the phone talking to at least one of the accusers.
Yeah.
What can you tell us about where things stand at this point? What you
So
learned?
before we start the conversation, just to note, I did speak to one of the former staffers of Eric Swalwell who confirmed to me that she did make allegations to the San Francisco Chronicle and to CNN of 2 instances of sexual assault by the congressman. I want to note, MS Now has not independently confirmed those allegations. We have not corroborated those allegations. We're also not naming the name of the woman here at the center of the story, given that we don't name victims or alleged victims of sexual assault. It is worth noting as well that the San Francisco Chronicle and CNN did, as you mentioned, speak to family members, friends, acquaintances, look at these text messages and such. But the story here, as you mentioned, is yes, spoke to her and she did confirm that she did make those allegations. And this, of course, comes as Eric Swalwell is a longtime congressman up on Capitol Hill, is running in that key gubernatorial race in California right now. The fallout has been swift and has been damning for Eric Swalwell. In the hours after these allegations first came out, he has lost a number of his key supporters and endorsements, members up on Capitol Hill, key folks in California. House Democratic leadership yesterday, Hakeem Jeffries, Catherine Clark, and Pete Aguilar coming out and saying they believe that Eric Swalwell should drop out of the race and that there should be an investigation into these allegations. I will note, when I was speaking to the woman last night, I asked, why now? Why you decided to come forward with your story now? I'll read you a little bit of what she told me. She said, quote, "I finally felt like I had the support to help me come forward, which was a huge deciding factor that I did not have when this happened in 2019 or in 2024. Again, those are the 2 years that she alleges of sexual assault. But a big story unfolding this weekend that'll have big time implications and ramifications, both in California, but here in Washington, D.C.
First of all, thank you so much for your reporting. You've had a busy and heavy week. And this is very sensitive reporting and challenging to do. So we appreciate it. Can we share a little bit about how Eric Swalwell has responded to this so far? He is flat out denying the allegations, despite multiple accounts that all seem fairly similar to one another. Let's give his response a listen.
These allegations of sexual assault are flat false. They're absolutely false. They did not happen. They have never happened. And I will fight them with everything that I have. They also come on the eve of an election where I have been the frontrunner candidate for governor in California. I have certainly made mistakes in judgment in my past, but those mistakes are between me and my wife. And to her, I apologize deeply for putting her in this position. For over 20 years, I have served the public as a city councilman, as a member of Congress, and as a prosecutor who went to court on behalf of victims, particularly on behalf of sexual assault victims. That's who I am and have always been.
Have you heard anything from the congressman, Michael? And do you think that this denial is going to prevent him from ultimately dropping out of the case and out of the race and honestly resigning from Congress at this point?
I have not personally heard from him. I will note there was a statement in both the San Francisco Chronicle story and the CNN story denying the allegations. And then late last night, he came out with that video line that stood out to me, flat false. So completely denying these allegations. I think that the key question here, there are 2 key questions. It's A, what does Eric Swalwell ultimately do? And B, what is he called on to do? What pressure does he face? So what I mean by that is we're hearing from scores of Democrats and Republicans who say he needs to drop out of the race. I mean, Nancy Pelosi, someone who is incredibly close to him, put out a statement and said, I spoke to him and I told him that this is something that needs to be dealt with, and it needs to be dealt with outside of the race.
Well, let me read that the statement. This extremely sensitive matter must be appropriately investigated with full transparency and accountability. As I discussed with Congressman Swalwell, it is clear that is best done outside of a gubernatorial campaign. As we have all covered Speaker Emerita Pelosi, what jumped out at me is, as I discussed with Congressman Swalwell, this is best done outside of a gubernatorial campaign. To me, that is her publicly saying to Congressman Swalwell, I'm putting you on blast. I'm letting everybody know I talked to you, and you better get out of the race. So to your point, the pressure that is coming to bear on Congressman Swalwell, if there was one person who could knock him out of the race, it's her.
Right. And the question that I have, though, is they're basically unanimous calls for him to exit the race. And to your point, Jonathan, there's no greater, more central figure in California politics than Nancy Pelosi. Right. And her words carry meaning. The question is, will we start hearing calls from him to resign from Congress?
What have you heard from members of Congress?
I haven't heard that. We've heard.
Let me tell you all something. This is a smear campaign. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. This is a smear campaign. Like I said, I'm going to do my research on him, but my spirit is telling me this is all cap. And here's the thing. When he said, Soul Sister said, mistakes in judgment, enough said. No, that's not enough said, because we all make mistakes in judgment. What he was saying basically is that he likely cheated on his wife, because he said that he and his wife, that's for them to deal with, and it is. Plenty of men cheat, specifically these men with money and power, these politicians. So I find it interesting also to note that they're going in on this man and telling him that he should drop out because of accusations that have not even been proved or substantiated. And second of all, the reason I have a problem with that is because let us not forget Pete Keg's breath. He was accused of rape, and he still got confirmed, and he still has a position that he's not qualified for, by the way. He quietly and silently in the dark of night paid off his accuser. Nobody was calling for him to drop out. Okay? Mr. Midnight Honey, if you're saying you can't trust a cheater, then you can't trust plenty of people. Okay? Because I'm sure plenty of people cheat. What does them cheating have to do with them running or being in office? Whether they're in Congress, whether they're a CEO of a company, whether they're your boss at work. Okay, I'm sure you've cheated yourself. Please, let's not act holier than thou. Now, I'm not taking up for this man because I don't know him, like I said, but what I'm saying is, let's just not pass judgment until we know more of the facts. Okay? Talk about you can't trust a cheater. Well, can you trust yourself? Because I know you cheated. Okay, please. I'm sure you have. Okay, I'm sure you have. You're a man, and I'm going to tell you that at least 75, probably more than that. Let me just look it up. Most men cheat. Let me see how much the stats is. Hold on. Let's see here. Because there's a whole lot of people you shouldn't trust if that's the case. All I'm saying. That's why most people get divorced. It's because of lying, cheating, arse men. It's not the women that cheat more so. Now, women do cheat too, but I'm just saying. It's mostly you guys. Okay? It's mostly you guys, beloved. Okay, let he who is without sin cast the first stone. All right? So let me see here. They don't have any stats on this. Hold on. Let me get more specific without I word it. Okay? They know the lie. Oh my Lord, they are lying. Who posted this crap? Men, clearly. Y'all want to hear the bullshit? Hold on. Let me ask the women in the chats. Ladies, Soul Sister said 90%, just like I said, okay? About 90%. All right. Robert said, that's your opinion, Queen. Well, here's the thing, beloved. You're right. It is my opinion. That's why I'm looking up the stats so I can give you the facts. Because my opinion doesn't really count. Because we all have an opinion, beloved. And so that's why I said, let me get the stats, okay? So settle down, okay? You must feel like I stepped on your toes. All right, I'm not allowed to give my opinion. I give my opinion on everything else. But all of a sudden, when I start talking about cheating artists and men now, you want to say, oh, Queen, that's your opinion. Yeah, it is. And what's your point? Okay? All right. So with that all being said, a lot of y'all got side chicks and things. That's all I'm saying. So anywho, let's talk about the statistics, because that's not my opinion. That's what they reported. Now, but I don't believe it, because they said approximately, let me just put this up on the screen, because y'all, why are they playing games? Why are they playing games? Mr. Midnight says 10%. Please sit down. You know that's a lie. You don't even believe that yourself, and I know you don't. Okay? Women never forgive cheating men. Cheating men do not forgive you. Women never forgive cheating men. They do not forgive you. That's right. That's another thing. Women forgive cheating men, but cheating men don't forgive their women. Okay? Now, right? Who has the most sides? How should I know? Roberta says, divorced 3 times because my husband's cheated several times. 95% cheat. Yes, I think they're skewing the statistics. This was clearly done by men. Let me just tell y'all what it says. Hold on. Let me take this off the screen. See, y'all got me in here doing stuff I don't have any business doing. I'm supposed to be trying to finish this live and get up out of here so I can get outside. I got things to do. Well, let me show you all. This is so hilarious, okay? This is all crazy. I don't believe a word of it. LeVar said, damn. Starseed Oracle said he cheated. I don't know if he cheated or not. He said that he has made some lapses in judgment, but that's between he and his wife. That could mean that he physically cheated, he emotionally cheated, that he went out with someone or just did something he shouldn't have been doing that he knew his wife didn't like. I don't know. I'm only speculating. Again, this is my opinion, like I was just told. But I want you all to pay attention, because here's what it says. Approximately 20% to 34% of married men admit, okay, that's the key word, admits to cheating, to having cheated on their wives at some point. While men generally report higher rates of infidelity than women, studies indicate that 1 in 5 men have committed acts of infidelity. Now that's more like it. That's more like it. See, that is just the men who admitted to it, because most of y'all lie. Most of y'all gonna lie to the day you die. Okay, no, I didn't do it. It wasn't me, like Shaggy. It wasn't me. But I saw you. Did my lying eyes deceive me? Yeah, they did, because it wasn't me. Okay, so that's what y'all do. So anyway, that's the number. Okay, so that changes this. I do believe that. So now, mind you, here's what I want you to pay attention to. So if we know that 20 to 34% admit, that's just the ones that tell the truth about it. Well, that's up to 34%. So yeah, that does raise the bar as to how many of y'all actually cheat, which is probably about 85 to 90%. All right? 85 to 90%, my opinion. Yeah. Okay. Who wants to debate about it? Y'all need to sit down somewhere, because y'all know y'all be out here lying and cheating. Most of y'all I'm so glad I got me a good man, honey, because my man would never. Okay. Y'all need to sit down somewhere. Turkey to Citadel said, not me. I believe you, Turkey to Citadel. Ashkan said, say it ain't so. Yeah, Soul Sister said men admit to cheating 20 to 30%, but 60% don't admit to get or they get caught. Exactly. That's more like it. LeVar said, I wouldn't either. Okay, I believe you, LeVar. Now, with that all being said, let's continue, because I think we know where this is all going. But honestly, listen, that lady didn't even have a good excuse when they asked her about the timing. Like, why now are you bringing this up, right? What did she say? That she didn't have support in the beginning. Oh, so now you got support? So let me get this straight. You didn't have anyone to back you up on this until this man was on the eve of the gubernatorial race? Yeah, ma'am, this is sounding shady to me. I'm sorry. She's going to have to bring some receipts. And like I was saying, they didn't have a problem with Steve Kegsbreath being accused. I mean, of course, some of the Democrats did, but what I'm saying is, they didn't make such a big issue out of it. It wasn't, they weren't telling him that he needs to, just get out of the bid and all of that. And then let's not forget about Steve Kavanaugh. Remember what they said about Kavanaugh? He's still a Supreme Court justice. But they want this man to drop out of the gubernatorial race because somebody said so, and because Pelosi Okay, at the end of the day, and here's the thing, he will not be running against Governor Gavin Newsom because they said that he's not running for governor in 2026. He's probably going to run for president. He's probably going to run for president. Tell you one thing, I'll vote for him, even though I don't care for any of these politicians. They're all nefarious to me, but I would vote for him before I vote for any Republican, and that's a fact. Now, I'm going to have to make sure he didn't get in that AIPAC money. Okay, because if anybody got AIPAC money, we should not vote for them, period. Because they're going to be owned just like Trump. And that's just the facts. The hell are y'all laughing at? I didn't tell any jokes. Did somebody say something funny in the chat? Buckhorse DC said it's not cheating if you don't get caught. Sit down somewhere. You would say that. Have you been smoking again, Buckhorse DC? Haven't I told you about coming in my chat when you've been smoking? Oh, he just won't learn. Let's continue.
From Democrats, again, scores of his closest allies who say he needs to drop out of the race, including Democratic leadership. Notably, they haven't called on him to resign. That statement last night from the top 3 members of Democratic leadership said we need an investigation, we need him to leave the race. It doesn't say resign. Right now, there are at least 3 Democrats who have called on him to resign outside of Capitol Hill: Tom Steyer and Katie Porter, two of his fiercest opponents in the race, and LA Mayor Karen Bass. So I think it's a question of, will we start hearing now from Democrats as this continues to unfold that he needs to leave Congress? And the pressure is going to mount on Capitol Hill. Jonathan, we were talking about this last night. The House returns to session on Tuesday after this 2-week recess. Lauren Boebert says she's going to introduce a resolution to censure Eric Swalwell. Anna Paulina Luna says she's bringing a motion to expel him. Now, will those have the votes? I don't know at this moment. But if that is forced on the floor and there has to be a vote on it, it's going to put Eric Swalwell's colleagues on the record. They're going to have to make a tough decision when they have to cast a vote.
It's all nefarious, okay? Ashkan says, I'm so glad YouTube found me this channel. Thank you, beloved, and I'm glad you found it too. Now, listen, if you notice any of the new people, if you notice you're not receiving notifications, please double check to make sure you're still subscribed, because I'll tell you one thing, I'm shadow banned on here, and it is hard for people to find my channel. I'm glad when people do, but ScrewTube absolutely unsubscribes people from this channel, okay? Desmond says, Queen, I have a chastity belt. Desmond, sit down, okay? Why would you ever need a chastity belt? Why would you ever? Please, you could have kept that. First of all, that's TMI, okay? But thanks for telling us your business, if you will. And thank you for the contribution to the channel. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings. Not a chastity belt. Now, with that all being said, let's go to this clip. Do I want to hear about Pam Bondi? Hold on, let me see what they're talking about. Listen to this, you all, as if this is a shocker. Reported just 4 hours ago, it said she's looking for excuses. House Dems call out Pam Bondi for refusing to testify in the Epstein probe. Of course she doesn't want to testify. We all knew this was coming. This wasn't even a question in our minds. It shouldn't have been, because that's why Trump got rid of her, okay? Because he didn't want her to testify, and she didn't want to either. This is no shocker for me. Let's hear what they have to say about it.
Of Pennsylvania. She is a member of the House Oversight Committee. The House Oversight Committee subpoenaed now former Attorney General Pam Bondi to come before the committee. She was going to, we thought she was going to come, but then she let word be known that she is not coming. And Forbes has this headline from this week: Democrats threaten Pam Bondi with contempt after she backs out of Epstein testimony. There's a Hill headline that says Mace calls for Bondi to testify in Epstein files probe or be held in contempt. If you hold her in contempt, that gets referred to the Department of Justice. How confident are you that even if the committee does hold her in contempt, that DOJ will actually follow through with it?
So just to backtrack a second, I didn't think that she wasn't going to come. If folks remember from our fake hearing briefing that she came to, and she told us that she would not commit there, right? So it was very clear to us there that that Comer was trying to help her get out of having to appear before our committee in regards to the subpoena. As for how this contempt could go, From what I understand is that there actually are two routes. There is civil contempt and there's criminal contempt. Criminal contempt goes directly to the DOJ, which of course she used to be the head of. Civil contempt is actually a different route. So I think that what would happen now is our committee would look at what the best options are here. What are the options that might get us closer to some justice, recognizing that the way that Trump's Department of Justice has conducted itself so far does not leave confidence for us to think that they'll do this any sort of an honorable investigation on their own people.
Okay, enough said. We don't even need to hear the rest because the bottom line is, even if she doesn't show up and they do hold her in contempt, nothing is going to happen. We already know that, okay, because they're in charge. Sadly, they're in charge. Now, with that all being said, how many of you, once in the chats, because I want to hear this, how many of you would vote for Robert F. Kennedy if he ran for president? Once in the chat. How many of you would vote for Robert Kennedy if he ran for president? JFK's brother. I mean, not brother. I mean, nephew. How many of you would vote for him? I'm seeing twos. Okay, good. Y'all better not have said yes. And here's why. Y'all better not have said yes. Let me just tell y'all something. What this man said about Black people. Let me find the receipts. Also, he confirmed, and I want y'all to pay attention, he confirmed something that I told you all back in 2020, okay? That got me shadow banned. I want y'all to pay attention. He literally confirmed it. Let's get into it. Meanwhile, I'm going to look for that other clip where he was talking trash about Black folk. Now listen to this. I can't believe he said this out loud. I literally can't believe he said it because I thought he had some sense. But, you know, we should have known that when he started working for Trump. But I want you all to pay attention to what this man said. And tell me I didn't tell y'all this. Now, the only thing is he named two groups of people. I only named one. And y'all know who the one is that I named. But this is what he had to say.
What did he just say?
Well, I know a lot now about bioweapons because I've been doing a book on it for the past 2.5 years, and you know, the technology that we now have to develop these microbes, we've put hundreds of millions of dollars into ethnically targeted microbes. The Chinese have done the same thing. In fact, COVID-19, there's an argument that it is ethnically targeted. COVID-19 is targeted to attack Caucasians and Black people. The people who are most immune are Ashkenazi Jews and Chinese.
Wait, what did he just say?
Well, I know a lot now about.
Y'all heard that, right? He was talking about bioweapons, and then he said what he said. Y'all heard that? I could not believe that man said that out loud. Y'all heard that, right? But didn't I tell y'all that back in 2020? Because I predicted it before it happened. I predicted it before it happened. So I already knew what time it was, okay? Please pay attention. I told y'all before it ever happened. And I told you when the jab comes, I told you what to do. All right? Some of you listened. Sadly, some didn't. Okay, sadly, some didn't, and some of them is no longer here. Okay, please pay attention. Now, that all being said, can't save everybody. All right, so I found that very interesting, though. But here's what he said about Black folk. I don't know why I can't find that clip. I could have sworn I queued that this morning. He basically said, you all know that old, let me see if I can find that video real quick. You all know that old stereotype that they have about Black people, specifically Black women, saying that we have a higher threshold for pay. He said that. And then he said there was peer-reviewed studies. Now, that's where he caught my attention, because you know the Queen's all about peer-reviewed studies. That's where I get my information from. I mean, I Google little things online, but I'm just saying, when I'm doing some serious deep diving research, okay, and I've told you all that I don't even let my students, you better not turn in a paper where you got your research from Google, especially not Wikipedia either. It has to be peer-reviewed research, but that's what he said. He was like, these are peer-reviewed studies. And I'm like, sir, there's also peer-reviewed studies that says that's absolutely not true. So sit down somewhere. Hold on. Here's my question. Where do they get off with this? Where do they get off with this? How do they determine these studies? Because we know that decades ago, decades ago, but also even further back, during slavery specifically, they were performing experimental surgeries on specifically Black women, Black men too, but more so Black women, without anesthesia. So have they ever done that type of experimental surgeries on white women or white men? I'm sure they haven't. If they have, I'd like to know. Because if they have not, then how do they come to this nefarious conclusion? And the thing is this, even if you do have a higher threshold for pain, so what does that even mean? So they're saying, oh, because of that, we don't need to give you medicine for pain? Like, make it all make sense. RFK Jr. says that Black people need fewer jabs than white people. You know, that could be true. I don't know, because we do have because of the melanin, okay, we do have stronger organs. This is a fact, and things like that. This is why people who don't look like us prefer to get our organs when they're getting a transplant. That's a fact. They request to get our organs. That's why there's so much problems with our people having their organs harvested. And we're going to be talking about that next week. So please pay attention. We've talked about it before, but I have some other information and stories that we need to get into. Hold on. I mean, he literally said this just days ago, I think it was. And the people were shocked and appalled. He clearly got criticized for it. Let me see if I can pull up the video. I have the stuff right here, but yesterday I posted about RFK Jr.'s disturbing. Okay, I can't find the video at this point. I could go on TikTok, but let's just read what he said. Says that R.F. Kennedy Jr. has faced criticism for suggesting that Black people have stronger immune systems, and by extension that their bodies react differently to venom than experts have widely announced as scientific racism. Now, while some reports highlighted in 2021 comment that we should not be giving Black people the same venom schedule. Let me tell you something. I'm not going to get into all of that because I don't want any issues with screw tooth. But the bottom line is, listen, he also said we had a higher pain, a threshold for pain. The bottom line is, here's why I don't like taking many of the medications they put out there, whatever, and specifically I don't like taking jabs, okay? And I do believe that we just may have a more robust immune system. I absolutely believe that just may be true. I haven't researched it, but it just might be. But here's the thing, though. Of course, they want us to take these things, but this whole notion that we have a higher level of, we can take a higher level of pain. So my thing is, even if that's true, what is their point? You see, because what you find in the medical field, you'll find that there are times when someone that looks like me is in excruciating pain, according to the person complaining. If they say, what's your level of pain on a scale of 1 to 10, and the Black person says 10, they will leave them waiting much longer for the pain meds than they would a Caucasian person. I've seen it happen. It's happened to me. It's happened to me. Okay, and I got so mad because I was in so much pain and I was so angry because the nurse, who didn't look like me, was acting like it's no big deal. Like, oh, you can take it. Go right on ahead. Also, when I was giving birth to my first son, they didn't give me an epidural. Okay, I requested one. Okay, I requested one, but they took too long. So by the fact that they were taking so long, the baby just came, and there was none. I didn't get any for my second one either. But the second time, I didn't even ask for it because by then I had sense enough to know Okay, I did research on those things or whatever. And so I didn't even want them sticking me with it the second time. But the first time I did ask for it. Okay, so with that all being said, you know, they will absolutely act as though they don't need to give you pain meds. You know, oh, you're just exaggerating. Remember how Serena Williams had like a I think she had an aneurysm or something when she was giving birth. Y'all remember that? She had some serious health issue when she was giving birth, and she had to force them darn it to give her a CAT scan. Okay, and something was absolutely wrong. This is why so many Black women died during labor and delivery. This is why. So that's a problem. So anytime you have someone like RFK Jr., okay, who's in charge of health in this country, all right, thanks to Trump, anytime you have someone like that coming out saying something that's, you know, just so ridiculous, like, what's your point? When they say these things, they're letting it be known, like, oh, you don't have to really give Black people pain meds. You don't really have to sedate them so much. They'll get over it. And they can deal with it. They have a high threshold. That's what they're saying. Okay? Ashkan says, screw Western medicine. Okay? Except for surgery and triage. Exactly. Okay? Exactly. I absolutely agree. These people are nefarious. And we already know how they conduct medical genocide in this country, and have been doing so for decades. And let me remind you all that they also were giving or were sterilizing people without their consent for 30 whole years in this country. And they're still doing it. We just don't hear about it because they do it sneakily behind our backs. You all remember I showed you a video last week of this poor Black woman who was trying to have a child, and that man lied and told her, because he was racist, told her, and he was from India. And he told her he was going to give her or help her to have a child, and ended up taking out a portion of her, giving her partial hysterectomy. So sad. Okay, D. Major Skellen says, should we avoid all jabs or just certain ones? Listen, don't ask me. I'm not your healthcare provider. Don't even ask me anything like that, honey. Do I look like a what? I don't know anything about what you need to do. Okay, don't get me up here to tell you, and then something goes awry because you don't do this or you do this, and then you come in here trying to sue the queen. How do you know not to ask me that? I am not a physician. Okay, I'm not a medical doctor, and I am not giving anybody medical advice. Okay, please sit down somewhere, sir. Thank you for your question, but you could have kept it. But I will take that $1.99 super chat. Thank you kindly. I know you didn't ask me that. I know you didn't. Honey, you tried it. All right, you tried it, honey, because my PhD is in public administration and my BS is in criminal justice. You see, I don't have anything to do with medical medicine, with medicinal, okay, information. I'm just sitting here telling you my thoughts and views. I am no expert. Now, I am an expert on serial killers as deemed so by Dr. Eric Hickey. Now, if you want to ask me something about serial killers and get some advice, go right ahead, honey. But other than that, I'm out. Okay? Please pay attention. Trying to set me up? Honey, are you working for Screw Tube? Did they put you up to this? I have several questions. All right? I know you did. Anywho, and I didn't even tell y'all not to get that jab. I just told you what I thought about it, what I was or wasn't going to do. And also, with that I've been saying, let me just have a moment of silence for Dr. Buttar, who is no longer with us, who was a stark opponent against that jab and said so, and just turned up deceased. Okay, may he forever rest in peace. And I'm not joking about that. I'm being very serious. Okay, I'm very serious. I will always miss Dr. Buttar. Now, with that all being said, child, I know you didn't ask the queen, honey. That sounds like a whole setup. I'm going to need to find out who put you up to it. Oh, my God. Lieutenant Maxwell said, Queen, did you get the... Honey, no. What part of what I've been saying have you not been listening to? What part have you not been listening to, beloved? Okay? No, I didn't. I have no need to. Okay? I have no need to. All right? That's just on me. I'm not telling anybody else what to do. I'm just telling you what I didn't do. Now, with that all been said, listen, I want you all to see this. This is some more information on Melania. We need to change the subject real quick, because now y'all starting to get on my nerves already. We got Lieutenant Mookswell saying, Queen, did you get... No. Okay, where have you been this whole conversation? Now, that being said, let me just pull up his receipt. Here we go. Hold on. Y'all really be trying it. Some of y'all, you know what? Lillian X and Desmond, I'm going to find that old video that I did where I was dragging Jack the D, because some of y'all really be trying me. Okay? And y'all going to have to F around and find out, just like she did. Okay? All right? Trying to set me up and asking nefarious questions and all of that. Now, let's listen to what Melania Trump has to say.
You make Madam, you're still things
recording.
I have to do for these people are unacceptable. They do not leave me alone all day long.
Microphone is on.
Melania,
Please stop talking, please.
Melania,
Good afternoon. The lies linking me to disgraceful Jeffrey Epstein need to end today.
To date, several individuals and companies have been legally obligated to publicly apologize about me, such as Daily Beast, James Carville, HarperCollins UK. Yeah, all of them, they apologize. Ha. I win. Now is the time for Congress. What? One moment, please. This is why I don't get the words right. I know I don't want to wear glasses, therefore I say outrageous things. I cannot see what they wrote. Where is my hairdresser? Why this thing keep falling? Put it up. Okay. Oof. Now is the time for Congress to eat Epstein. What? Eat Epstein. Was not alone. Epstein was not alone. Several prominent male executives resigned from their prominent position after this matter became widely political. You know? Go look at them. I give you hint. Now you go. Walk, go look at them. Go look at them. Not my husband, not me. Okay. Not finished. You wait.
Now, with that all been said, listen. Now we're going to go to her publicist. Now we're going to go to Melania's publicist. Let me hurry up. I'm taking entirely too long with this broadcast. Y'all, I have gotten sidetracked at least 3 times during this whole broadcast.
Darling, just calling to say huge congratulations on your random press conference last night. You were fabulous.
I never been friends with Epstein.
You absolutely didn't raise any questions that people didn't know they had. It was perfect. I mean, you plugged your book.
In a detail in my book, Melania.
Demonstrated the closeness of the relationship with your husband by calling him by his full name.
Epstein did not introduce me to Donald Trump.
It was a little bit weird that the blinds behind you went up at the exact moment you were making the most important point of the press conference.
I never had a relationship with Epstein or his accomplice, Maxwell.
Did y'all even notice how the blinds were going up and she was lying? Hilarious. Those blinds were literally going up. I didn't even notice until he said it. Okay, so D Major says, my bad. I generally wonder if there are some worse than others. I already got many of the childhood. It's so kind of late. No, I was just messing with you, beloved. I was joking with you. I know you were trying to set me up or anything. But listen, I can't tell you that, okay? But With that being said, yeah, we all probably got the ones when we were kids. We didn't have a choice. And our parents didn't know the things that we know now, but all I can tell anyone is to do your research for yourself and then speak with your physician and what have you. You know what I'm saying? But thank you, beloved, for your insight to the topic and your contribution to the channel. Peace, love, and blessings. Dear Major, I love you. I'm just messing around.
No, Melania, that wasn't me sneaking out because I was embarrassed. Don't do this. Look, my love here, let's just focus on the positives, okay? Which is obviously that after this press conference, nobody is focusing on the fact that this picture exists and this email exists when you say to Ghislaine Maxwell, give me a call when you're back in NY. Finally, lovely touch drawing attention to the fact that there are some CEOs who have had to resign their posts because they've featured in the Epstein files.
Several prominent male executives resign from their powerful positions.
Now, why does she even bring that up? I want you all to pay attention. And then at the end, he said, I wonder if there's anyone else who should probably do that. Clearly talking about Trump. But I just thought it was interesting. And so did the survivors, okay? Because some of them talked about it and one of them came out and spoke, okay? Because she wanted to know what was her point. I think we know what her point is now after we find out about Amanda Ungaro. And also, let me just say this. I went on Amanda Ungaro's X account. And so, they're alleging, not her specifically, but there was a post that someone, I think they tagged her in or whatever, but they're saying that supposedly her ex, what's his name? Paolo Zampali. They're saying that he's trying to bribe her, I guess. They're saying they've accused him of offering her and another woman by the name of Victoria, who also claims that she was R-worded by Zampali. They're saying that he's trying to offer them money for their silence. So I find that very interesting. If you're offering money to someone to be quiet, that just further makes me believe what they're saying.
We're all surprised yesterday. I think that speech came out of nowhere. We were not ready for that. And we don't know why she even gave that speech. I don't think any of us thought she was an Epstein survivor. I think many people thought that she was introduced to Mr. President through Jeffrey Epstein. And that is obviously all allegations. We don't know for sure.
Let me just sort of emphasize what she said. Her words were a call on Congress to provide the women who've been victimized by Epstein with a public hearing specifically centered around the survivors. And then she emphasizes it should be if they want to do this. And then at the end, she says, then and only then will we have the truth. What do you mean? What do you make of her emphasizing that only then does she think that we'll finally get to the truth?
Why do we need to testify to find out the truth? We have the files. Everyone's reading the same files. We have names of so many different perpetrators in there, and nothing's being done in America. There's absolutely no point for us. Listen, we are honored to meet her and talk about what we went through. I think that's, something that we can definitely do. But to tell our stories all over again, it's just re-traumatizing us all over again. And then nothing to be done. There's no consequences. There's no actions being taken. What is the whole point? We are very confused why we are even talking about something that makes zero sense.
Mm-hmm. But what do you make of the fact that someone so high profile, obviously the wife of President Trump, has chosen to speak about this and to speak about it in this, very impassioned way?
I don't know why she has chose to speak now. It's been a long time that this has been happening, and I don't know why she chose specifically yesterday. I think there's something coming our way, and I think that they are trying to shift our attention to us when something else might be happening. I think this is what's going on here.
And of course, you met Jeffrey Epstein when you were incredibly young, only 14 years old. And, a long time has passed. And as you say, you feel nothing has happened. So what steps do you think need to be put in place for something to finally happen and for you to have the sense that you're finally getting justice?
I think it's very hard for us to navigate through something when we've been trying everything to hold people accountable for it. So we as survivors are trying to figure out why she has given the speech, first of all. Second of all, we're trying to figure out what are the next steps to hold people accountable, because the American people don't want to hold all these rich and powerful men responsible for it. So it's kind of, how much more can we fight? How much more can we ask? Now we're asking the American people to ask Congress to take action.
You have asked Congress to take actions, beloved. See, this just really makes me so upset because this beautiful young lady, I'm sure that she has been traumatized. I believe that she was a victim, like she said, but it's just so sad and disheartening that these women have to live with this trauma. Can you imagine the things that they saw? Not just being trafficked, but all that other stuff that I read to you all in the Epstein files. Can you imagine? At the end of the day, just imagine coming out and saying these things and coming forward, and then only to find out that the person that was supposedly being held responsible is somewhere on the lam. Okay, didn't die in prison as we were told. It's somewhere on the lam. And mind you, the rest of the devils, they're not getting any consequences. Todd Blanchard said this is over. It's a wrap. They're not releasing any more files. Now, I have to agree with Sink from the Young Turks when he said this could be an issue of national security. If, in fact, Trump is being blackmailed by SATANyahu, which I absolutely think that he is, as do many of us. And unless we know exactly what's in the rest of those files, we don't know the extent of the blackmail, just like Sink said, okay? This is absolutely nefarious. Okay, I just hope these women get some measure of justice someday, but they likely won't. Let's go to this clip of this woman who says that she has been speaking with Amanda Ungaro. And, you know, here's the thing. This poor woman, Amanda, who came out and said these things about knowing Melania for 20 years and knowing her family and saying that she can expose her, they have been dragging this poor woman through hell over there on X. And by they, I mean the MAGA cult members. I went over there this morning on her account to see what she posted. They were going in on her, saying that she just wants money. She's lying. She's just making this stuff all up. She has no credibility. I'm sorry, but Melania does, after she said she didn't even know Epstein. Why would she have said that when we've seen all the pictures that are everywhere? We've seen videos of her and Trump at parties where Epstein was there. We've seen the emails, because that one email that keeps showing, that's not the only email. That's not the only email. Now, I'm not saying there was anything nefarious in the emails, but the language as to how Melania was speaking to Ghislaine lets me know that they were friends. Okay, they were friends. You don't just talk like that to someone you casually know or who's a business acquaintance. You would keep it much more professional. Okay, that was someone who was her friend. Please pay attention. Now let's continue.
New information for you guys about the Amanda Ungaro and Paulo Zampoli situation. If you're behind, watch the playlist that this video is attached to. So as we know, Paulo Zampoli is the former modeling agent who brought Melania to the United States for Donald Trump back in the 90s and has been in business with Donald Trump since the 90s. They did the whole modeling agencies together. They did the whole real estate world together. Paulo is a United Nations diplomat. He was a part of the first Trump administration, and he is very involved in the current administration. Right. Okay. We've been talking about this guy since July. We know. As you guys know, I recently made contact with Amanda Ungaro, and we are now in communication on a regular basis. We know Amanda Ungaro is the mother of Paulo Zampoli's child, who he began grooming at the age of 15 years old. She was a victim of Jeffrey's operation. She was on Jeffrey's plane at just 16 years old. We knew that she was on Jeffrey's plane at 17 years old, per the flight logs that were released by the DOJ in 2021. But since speaking to Amanda, she has confirmed that she was on Jeffrey's plane at the age of 16, earlier than we even realized. Amanda has known John Casablancas since she was 13 years old, and we know Paulo actually grew up with John Casablancas, and John Casablancas is the man who inspired Paulo to become a model.
Let me tell you all something. John Casablanca. Honey, when I tell you that that's very interesting. Now, John Casablanca was a very popular modeling agency when I was growing up. Okay, and my mother was going to send me there for modeling school because I graduated from modeling school. But with that all being said, I told her that I wanted to go to Alex Adams because I had a friend who went there at my school. And that's where she ended up sending me. And thank God. Okay, thank God. Now, I do have a friend that's on YouTube that actually went there, but I'm not going to tell you who that is because that's her story to tell. But the bottom line is, honey, I am so glad and grateful that I absolutely did not go there because this is all nefarious, okay? Please pay attention.
Modeling agent. Amanda was a victim and witness to Jeffrey's operation. She has a lot of information about the inner workings of this operation. She was on Jeffrey's plane with Jean-Luc Brunel. She has a very unique perspective into this entire situation. And as we know and have been reporting on, in June of 2025, Amanda was wrongfully arrested and held in an ICE detention facility for nearly 4 months. After being held for that period of time, she was deported to Brazil without any kind of due process or trial. Amanda has a fantastic team of attorneys who are currently helping her get justice for her wrongful arrest, her wrongful deportation, and the parental kidnapping and alienation of the child that she shares with Paulo. Those are all ongoing proceedings, and on the 21st of this month, Amanda will testify in front of the Supreme Court in New York City. While acknowledging she has years of legal battles ahead of her, we hope that the 21st begins a series of wins for her and her future. With permission from Amanda's legal counsel, she has been given the permission to speak on a wide range of things that have happened to her and are currently happening to her. We can't talk about everything right now, but after some of the upcoming legal proceedings that she has, she will be able to say more. So I'm going to share with you some information that Amanda has given me permission and her legal team have given permission for me to share with you guys. What I'm about to share with you is Amanda's own words. So I'm going to be reading from a screen so I can make sure I say everything correctly. And if you guys want to read this stuff yourself and see receipts and everything like that, you can go over to my Substack. I've already laid it all out and it's published on my page. So I'm going to share this message from Amanda with you guys. And then after that, I'm going to go over a few different names of figures that Amanda has given me. And these are figures who are aware of what's going on within our government and are assisting Paulo in his quest to silence and seek revenge against Amanda. Okay, from Amanda Ungaro, 1/18/2026. This is not family drama. This is a criminal operation. I have witnessed many things since I was a teenage girl who became swept up in this nightmare. I have photos to prove the physical abuse I have experienced at the hands of Paulo. I have proof of his longtime substance use issues. I have information and proof of his fraudulent business dealings and millions of dollars worth of insurance fraud that Paulo has committed. I have proof that me and my family have faced harassment, threats, and blackmail from Paulo for years. I have information and proof of government and public officials being bribed by Paulo. I have proof Paulo began trying to date me when I was 15 years old, and it is true that I was on Jeffrey Epstein's plane as a teenager. I was only 16 years old the first time I was put on his plane. I have proof Paulo abandoned his own mother in a nursing home in Italy after stealing her jewelry and other valuable items. If a man can rip away his own mother's dignity without a second thought, you can imagine what Paulo is capable of. I faced a false arrest based on manufactured charges. I was forced to stay in an ICE detention facility for months before I was deported to Brazil, where I have been fighting for justice. My paperwork and history of work for the United Nations did not stop the government from treating me like an animal. For 3 years before I was wrongfully arrested, I supported myself and my son without financial assistance from Paulo. In the years leading up to my arrest, Paulo and I did not have a romantic relationship following an affair that he had in Washington, D.C. Paulo did call me his wife, and we were together for 19 years, but legally we were never married. During that time, Paulo was only a present father to fit his narrative and to appear to the public as a loving father. I did not keep our son away from him and allowed him to still see his father. I moved to Miami with my son to enter the workforce, really for the first time outside of my 10 years of work for the United Nations. My attempt to be independent and create distance between myself and Paulo enraged him, and everything got worse, especially when I filed for full custody. The court awarding me full custody would mean Paulo would have to pay years of unpaid child support and continue to financially support our son into adulthood. This was not something that fit Paulo's narrative, something he is desperate to control. I was being harassed relentlessly. My family and friends were harassed as well and even followed in some cases. Shortly after, I began working a job at a medical assistant training school that specializes in minimally invasive procedures. I was associated with a med spa in Miami. Many anonymous complaints began to flood in. The man that I was arrested with was my romantic partner at the time and is now my husband. He is an awarded plastic surgeon of 30 years who conducts teaching seminars across the world. 3 months before being arrested and booked in June, police showed up unannounced to our home. Police came into our home and took me and my partner out in handcuffs. We were thrown against the wall outside of our home, and neighbors began to come outside because of the police presence. They were shocked. We were shocked. Neither of us have a criminal record, yet we were handled with extreme force, humiliated, and made a spectacle out of. We were humiliated. We waited for an hour for the police to get a search warrant. They destroyed our home and found nothing. The officers then went to my workplace and were there for hours. They confiscated equipment properly approved, lasers by regulatory agencies, medical documents, and patient records. They did all this searching for evidence of criminal activity that simply did not exist. Then June came and my partner, now husband, and I were arrested. No one else from the training center or spa were arrested. I was picked up by ICE officers and taken to a detention center. No bail was possible. I felt so broken and confused. I remained imprisoned in that ICE detention center in Miami for 3.5 months, while increasingly absurd accusations were piled on and have yet to be proven. One of the charges placed against me included that I was practicing medicine illegally, which is an absurd lie that the state of Florida has yet to provide evidence to my legal team of. Nothing that my husband and I have been arrested for has been proven in court, yet I was deported without trial. I was not given the opportunity to prove that the charges against me were fabricated. My fate was decided before they put the handcuffs on me. When I arrived in Brazil, I began the legal process of fighting for custody of my son, and for a moment I was successful. Giovanni was brought to Brazil briefly after my deportation, per court orders, before Paulo illegally removed him from my care and the country, causing me to file a kidnapping complaint. I am still fighting for my son to be rightfully returned to my custody.
That is so sad. And let me tell you something. This is what these men with power and money can do. Okay, this is how they control the narrative, control the women, and even control the children. And to avoid giving her any sort of monetary compensation or child support, rather, then this is what he wants. He wants to have custody of the child so he doesn't have to pay her anything because he doesn't want her to be able to benefit from it. And he's trying to run her life. Now, we've heard this story so many times. And if you think about the Hampstead twins from UK, when they came out and accused their father of being a whole PDF file, of saying that he was torturing the children at that school and they were eating the babies and all of that stuff, they lied, or the father lied. And I believe it was a lie. Said that the mother coached them to say those things, and because he had money and power, he was able to fight her in court and win and get custody of the same children that accused him of abusing them and also engaging and enforcing them to engage in satanic ritual abuse and asking them or forcing them to help him kill and eat babies. Like, it's all so sick. Now, how do these people get away with it? Well, that's because they have money and power, like I said. So this is just all so sick, and I absolutely believe every word that she said. And then they came looking for stuff and they never found it. Now, what's also interesting to me is because that report that I read yesterday when I reported on this, they said that she volunteered to go back to Brazil, that she begged the judge to send her back. So I thought, well, maybe she was fearful of her life and thought she would be safer in Brazil. But now it sounded like that's not even the case. So now I said all that to say, it seems to me that he's still, to some degree, controlling the narrative, because is he friends with the owners of that publication that wrote that? Okay, I just have questions. Now, with that all being said, we're going to get into this whole Lake Lanier thing in just a moment, but let me just go to this clip beforehand. And mind you, that video right there came out in January. Okay, all that information that girl just gave came out in January. That's why she didn't really say too much about Melania, because Melania's story just came out. But she had been talking to Amanda Ungaro for months ago. Okay, and so that's probably how Melania found out, because she started seeing stuff, and then also because of Amanda's current post.
Never been friends with the Jeffrey Epstein. Individuals lying about this are devoid of the ethical standards, and I, the Melanias, would know about the ethical standards. Donald and I barely knew Jeffrey Epstein. And our interactions were as follows. He introduced us. We kiss one time. We go to Kathy Griffin concert. We pay poor people to fight each other that one time. He was guest of honor at my grandmama's funeral. We have movie nights on Thursdays. And I only ride in his plane 100 times. Now, does that sound like somebody who was friends with the Epsteins? And just to be clear, I did not know his accomplice, the Maxwells, either. I never spoke to her or talked to her. All right, except for a bunch of emails. These fake photos circulating online need to stop. Stop. Is it ironic to hear me, the Melanias, talk about ethical standards while married to the human equivalent of a rotting fruit? Yes, but the difference is I'm rich and you're not, so shut up. I'll never be friends with...
He said married to the human equivalent of a rotting fruit. And did y'all see that wig he was wearing? I am done. Okay, I have had enough. So anyway, let's get into some serious business because come to find out. Okay, Natasha says Maxwell's father died on a boat. Yeah, it was all suspicious. I reported on that like a year or two ago, and it was all suspicious. Okay, I think somebody shoved him overboard. All right, I'm not saying they shouldn't have. Okay, Shawana said that wig was busted. Okay. Anyway, let's continue. Likes up, everyone. Please like and share. Thank you in advance. Now we have to talk about some serious business here because I don't know who. Okay, I do not know who Governor Brian Kemp thinks he is. But if he thinks he's going to have the people of Georgia drinking that nasty arse water from Lake Lanier, is he serious? Y'all, we have to get into it. We have to get into it because I absolutely cannot with this man. Now, you know, this has come to my attention. And I'm just trying to figure out how long has this been going on? Okay, because y'all know I live in Georgia, right? Anyway, let's talk about it. Let's get into it. Now, while we're talking about this conversation, let me just pull up this news report, first of all. Because why would he dare to have people drinking the water from Lake Lanier? Okay, this is just as nefarious as the whole debacle down there in Flint, Michigan. Well, maybe not as bad, but I'm just saying close. Hold on, let me pull this up. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. City officials fighting back against smelly, bad-tasting Lake Lanier water. Okay, I want y'all to pay attention. Miss Mississippi said, I'm in Georgia, 2 Queens, South Fulton County. Well, honey, I feel bad for you. No, I'm teasing, but Fulton County isn't on the list, okay? Lucky for you. Fulton County isn't on the list, and neither is the county that I reside in. Thank God, honey, because I would have been right up there in his office, okay? When he arrived at work. I promise you, y'all think it's a game? I would have been sitting right there in the lobby waiting for him. Yeah, I'm going to need to speak to Governor Brian Kemp real quick, please. I refuse to leave. Okay, y'all got to take me to jail today. If I ever find out that he had me drinking that dirty arse water, okay, please pay attention. It's crazy.
Source of drinking water for Metro Atlanta, but lately many of you have noticed a foul odor and a bad taste.
Algae levels are at historic highs. Channel 2's Brian Mims is live along Lake Lanier in Hall County, where one city, Brian, hopes a high-tech tool is going to help him out with this.
Absolutely. I am standing next to the water.
Hold on. Why was he just talking like that? Or was it just me? Am I tripping? Did y'all hear how he was talking? Let me rewind that back. It sounded like he was trying to have like a rhythmic flow when he was talking, almost like he was singing his words. Did y'all notice that? Let me go back. That was just weird. Listen to him.
Channel 2's Brian Mims is live along Lake Lanier in Hall County, where one city, Brian, hopes a...
Who talks like that? Who talks like that? Channel 2's Brian King is live along. Who speaks that way? I'm telling you all, if you all are not noticing that these news reporters are starting to be so overly extra and dramatic. Ashcon said professional hater. Y'all hear how he is talking? Lieutenant Maxwell said, hell, he drank the water. Did he? The way he's talking, I gotta hear it one more time, and then I'm gonna stop. This is getting out of hand. Okay.
And a bad taste.
Algae levels are at historic highs. Channel 2's Brian Mims is live along Lake Lanier. It's in Hall County, where one city, Brian, hopes a high-tech tool is going to help them out with this.
Absolutely. I am standing next to the water intake site for the city of Gainesville. This is where the city draws water from Lake Lanier and sends it through those pipes, then off to the plant to be treated, then to homes and businesses. The city hopes it found something to provide relief from foul tasting and smelling water. There has been something in the water around here for some time now. John Jacobs of Gainesville has noticed.
It's had a different taste. Honestly, it's had kind of a chemical taste. It's had a different texture to it.
Miles Coker has this comparison.
I don't know what mildew tastes like, but it tastes like I would think it would. It tastes like I would think mildew would taste.
The culprit is historically high levels of algae, releasing compounds that create a musty taste and odor. To do something about it, the city of Gainesville partnered with a company called LG Sonic to put 3 of these buoys in the water. Equipped with solar panels, they emit low-power ultrasound waves in the top layer of the water. Those waves block the algae's access to sunlight and nutrients, causing the algae to sink to the bottom and die off. City officials say this technology has the potential to reduce algae by 95% without using chemicals. But how did the algae get this bad?
We had a very wet spring, a dry summer, and the temperatures through the fall have been pretty moderate. So
Becca Risser, a specialist for the Chattahoochee Riverkeeper, says runoff pollution from farms and lawns is another big feeder of algae. But as foul as the water tastes and smells, she says it poses no health risk.
Water is absolutely safe to drink. So these are aesthetic issues. They're unpleasant, but these are not dangerous to people.
The city placed these 3 buoys near the city water intake site in mid-January. The city's water resources director says in a social media post that it will take at least a month to identify any trends. She also says Gainesville is the first city in Georgia to use this technology to fight algae. Live along Lake Lanier, Brian Mims, Channel 2 Action News.
Let's hope this technology will help both sides kind of come to a conclusion and fix this. Brian, thank you.
And more details on the.
First of all, she sounds ridiculous. She's saying that it's not bad for your health. Like it's not gonna, like it's okay to drink stinking water that smells musty. Even if it's not going to kill you or even make you sick. Who wants to drink water that smells musty? Is she serious? Okay. I know she's lying too. With that all being said, y'all already know what's under there, right? Okay, y'all already know what's going on. This is all nefarious. Hold on for a second. Now, so with that all being said, listen, I want you all to pay attention because this is what they have people drinking. So let's talk about it. In the early 1900s, Oscarville was a small town of a thriving Black community in Forsyth County, Georgia. Okay, now families owned land, built churches, sustained themselves through farming. But in 1912, racial tensions exploded after accusations against Black residents led to violence, lynchings, and mass intimidation. White mobs forced nearly all Black families to flee the county, abandoning their homes, farms, and livelihoods. Oscarville was effectively erased long before the waters came. Then decades later, in the 1940s and 50s, the federal government, through the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, planned a major reservoir project along the Chattahoochee River. Now, the goal was practical: provide hydroelectric power, control flooding, and supply water to a growing region, including Atlanta. This project became Lake Lanier. So as the dam was built, entire towns, farmland, roads, and cemeteries, including what remained of Oscarville, were submerged. By 1956, the valley filled with water, covering the physical traces of a community that had already been driven out of the racial terror or biracial terror decades earlier. Now, today, beneath the Lake Lanier surface, there lies the remnants of Oscarville, roads, foundations, and stories largely forgotten. The lake stands as both a symbol of modern development and a quiet reminder of the people who were displaced. Okay, I want y'all to pay attention, but here's the thing. I want you all to pay attention. Now, they want us to think that all of this happened. They want us to think that all of this happened when there was no people living there. Is that what they think we're supposed to believe? That nobody was living there when it all went down? There were still people in that town. Okay. Those people were drowned out. And also, that's right. Ashcon said, you might say it's revenge. Exactly. From angry ancestors. Okay. From angry spirits who were drowned out. I just want y'all to pay attention. These people are something else.
Once upon a time in Forsyth County, Georgia, there was a thriving black community called Oscarville. It was home to hard-working farmers, business owners, and families who had built a self-sustaining town after the Civil War. But what happened next would erase Oscarville from history, literally. Black families worked the land, built schools, and worshipped in churches they had constructed with their own hands. Their town was living proof that black success was possible in America. But in 1912, everything changed. That year, a white woman named May Crow was found dead, and without any real evidence, white residents blamed 3 black teenagers. Robert Big Rob Edwards was dragged from the jail by a lynch mob and brutally murdered. The other 2, Ernest Knox and Oscar Daniel, were given a rush trial and sentenced to death. Their fate was sealed before they even had a chance to defend themselves. White mobs unleashed terror across Forsyth County, burning black homes, churches, and businesses to the ground. Black families, over 1,000 people, were forced to flee in fear, leaving behind everything they had built. This wasn't just an attack, it was a racial cleansing. Once the black residents were gone, white families took over their land, homes, and businesses. No one returned the stolen property. No one compensated the rightful owners. The land that once belonged to the people of Oscarville was erased from history, as if they had never existed. Forsyth County became an all-white county, a place where no black family could safely live.
Okay, so you all may remember that there's a video where Oprah from the 80s, I can't remember what year it was, but it's back in the 80s. Oprah took a trip down there. Okay. See, that's before Oprah sold us out. But she took a trip down there to Forsyth County, Georgia. Okay. And those racist Klansmen and those devils down there, honey, they were letting her have it. And they were letting it be known they don't want black people there. That was a racial cleansing. And you know, that's the same thing SATANyahu's doing over there in Palestine. That's why I told you all the way they do the Palestinian people, that's the same way they do us here. So who are they? You know what I'm saying? Who do these people think they are? I have so many questions. And it's no different. Just think about how they are bombing them, trying to get rid of them, taking over their properties and everything. And then the same thing has happened here. Look what they did to Oscarville. They took over their properties and everything, just ran them out of there, didn't pay them a dime. All right. And then they have bombed us, bombed black people in the United States. I promise you, you would never, ever in your life hear about the United States bombing, okay, a group of white people. You would not ever hear of that. But you hear 2 stories, and there's probably more, because you all know that it takes so long sometimes for the truth to come out. Okay? For the truth to come out. And also, listen, we're going to talk about SATANyahu, okay? Because I did a deep dive on him. I told y'all that the other day. We're going to talk about him maybe tomorrow, because at the end of the day, and I'm not coming back today, I have stuff to do, but tomorrow we may talk about him because there's a whole lot of accusations about things that he did that many of us probably had no idea, not him, but people with that same mentality, okay? That we just probably wouldn't even have thought, damn, they did all of that? Are y'all serious? I'm talking about, it is crazy, the stuff that I found out. So anyway, with that all being said, I want to thank you all for tuning. Oh, hold on. No. Don't leave yet. I got to show y'all this. This poor black bus driver here. I gotta let y'all see this. I'm gonna show this video and then Christy Nome. Matter of fact, I'm gonna show Christy Nome first. Her husband. What's going on with him? Now we already know that he's a whole cross-dresser. But now they say another one. Alleged audio released. This came out yesterday. Alleged audio released of Christy Nome's husband telling a dominatrix, "Ooh, baby, I like it raw." Is that him? He's telling this dominatrix that he loves her and that she's better than his wife. Now, mind you, if we listen to what this woman is asking him, he's a fool because it was just so obvious to me that she was setting him up. If somebody starts asking you questions framed in a certain way, you should already know that there's some ulterior motive. Okay? And just not say anything. It's all ridiculous. Okay, let's get into it. Hold on, let me see some of these comments. Queen, do not drink Lake Lanier water. Get bottled water. Honey, do you? That's not even in my county. Okay, it's not in my county. Trust me, I checked. When I heard the story, that it doesn't even affect me. Okay, I'm nowhere near Lake Lanier, beloved. Thank you, but honey, I don't drink tap water anyway. And by bottled water, honey, I've been drinking bottled water for at least 15 years. Okay, so thank you. You don't have to warn me because anybody knows not to drink bottled water, beloved. Okay, so with that all been said, honey, I can't tell you when's the last time I drank bottled water or even chewed bubble gum, chewing gum, or any of that foolishness, ate cereal, Ritz crackers, honey, please, okay? How many times have I told you all about the foods that are legal here but illegal in other countries? Honey, please pay attention. Okay, so Ashkan says the things they do never, ever enter my imagination. Exactly, because you're not nefarious. And I say the same thing to myself. I say now, what kind of devil does one have to be to even concoct some of the things that they come up with? Like, how do you even sit around and dream these things up? You have to be a whole devil. And that's what some of these people are. It's just a fact. I know darn well SATANyahu's a devil. No ifs, ands, or buts. Okay, so let's get into it.
You told me you loved me, didn't you?
I do love you.
Do you?
Mm-hmm.
So much better than your wife, aren't I?
You're so much better. Would you ever marry me?
Oh, you want to be married to your God.
I mean, who would be?
I mean, exactly. So how many drinks are we on?
A lot.
A lot.
Shut up. You're so amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you make me drink.
Oh, I don't make you do anything.
Yeah, you.
I believe you told me you loved me, didn't you?
Yeah, you do.
Oh, do I?
You're the boss.
I am the boss.
So you tell me what to do and I'll do it.
That's a dangerous saying.
It's okay.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Did you think that I wouldn't find out who you are?
I knew you knew.
Do you care that I know?
It doesn't matter.
Right, it doesn't.
Is it?
No.
I mean, it is what it is.
I mean, that's very fair.
The shame of it all, honey. I want you all to think about how Christy Nome. I want you all to pay attention. Think about how Christy Nome said, somebody said jugs. Okay, I want you all to think about how Christy Nome sat there and disparaged Renee Nicole Good, and Alex Pretty. This is exactly what she gets. Now she's so embarrassed. She's literally in hiding. Had the audacity, dare I say, to come out and ask us to pray for her. Yeah, I have been praying for her. That's why this all came out. Okay? I'm so serious. I have been praying for her. I was praying for her every day, ever since the day that she called Renee Nicole Good and Alex Pretty domestic terrorists. I started praying for her right then and there that she would be embarrassed and humiliated, and whatever dark nefarious secret she had would come out. And I've been praying the same thing for Trump. I've been praying the same thing for Pete Breath, even though we already have some of the dirt on him. I've been praying for the entire Trump administration. And that's why I was a bit disappointed when they hacked Kash Patel's emails, and all we got was this video of him dancing like a fool, okay, twirling around like a fairy, no less, okay, with very little skills and rhythm, if you ask me. But I think we should continue to pray for them, because I told you all, for my enemies or people that I can't stand and whom I deem to be nefarious, I always pray for them. I pray the prayer of David over their lives. Okay, that's what I do. It's in the Bible. Now, with that being said, let's go to this video, because this is so nefarious. A school bus driver is hit by a flying rock. It breaks his ribs, 5 of them to be exact. But rather than having compassion that he at least still had the wherewithal to pull the bus over safely so the children didn't get injured, these people sued this man. I want y'all to pay attention. Okay, I want you all to pay attention. And I just wonder, Lillian X said, not twirling queen. Yes, y'all saw that video, honey. He was absolutely twirling. Okay, I told you all that he was, in fact, doing exactly what I used to do as a little girl. When I was like 6 or 7, I always wanted to do ballet. And so, but my mother sent me to take jazz and alternative dance. And so I would be in my room fairy dancing. That's what I called it. And that's exactly what he was doing. He was all up on his tippy toes. Please pay attention. Looking like a whole fool, mind you. But I want you all to see this video. This man, look at how this rock comes through the window. It literally broke 5 of his ribs. It must have been flying with a ferocious force, okay? It must have been the velocity of it all.
Critically injured, practically dying, and you're suing him because he hit the brakes too hard and your kid got a few scratches?
A school bus driver was sued for $500,000 after saving 21 children because he braked too hard, and some students ended up with minor head scrapes. His name is Marcus, a military veteran with 15 years of driving experience. That day, he was driving a school bus along a highway in Georgia when a rock suddenly smashed through the windshield and slammed straight into his chest. In an instant, Marcus suffered 5 broken ribs. Fighting through fading consciousness and unbearable pain, he instinctively hit the brakes and managed to bring the bus safely to the side of the road. However, because the stop was so sudden, a few students bumped their heads against the seat in front of them and suffered minor scrapes. Days later, while Marcus was still recovering in the hospital, he was served with court papers. 3 parents had jointly filed a lawsuit against him. They claimed that Marcus had improperly handled the stop, causing the bus to jolt violently and leaving their children with minor injuries and emotional trauma. They even questioned why the school bus didn't have seatbelts, demanding $500,000 in damages from Marcus and the school district. After reviewing the onboard surveillance footage, the judge angrily dismissed all of the parents' claims. Not only that, the judge determined that the parents had fabricated facts and were potentially guilty of extortion and perjury, and ordered prosecutors to pursue criminal charges against them on the spot. In the end, to avoid possible jail time, the parents were forced to pay Marcus $5,000 in compensation for damage to his reputation and emotional distress. Do you think this ruling was fair?
He was critically injured, practically dying.
Now, first of all, I don't know why the person who did that video put that black lady in there. Okay, I don't know why they put that black lady in the video, because that black lady was not the one suing him. Please pay attention. We already know who was suing that man. Trying to get $500,000 and then talking about why they didn't have seatbelts on the bus. Sorry, y'all should have been asking that maybe 60 or 70 years ago, when have school buses ever had seatbelts? Okay? When have they ever had seatbelts? Cars didn't even used to have seatbelts at one point. But so I just thought that was interesting. And then the judge ordered them to give him. Ashkan said, "Oh, we already know it was Steinstein." Okay, exactly. All right. Now, but what I find interesting is that they had the nerve to sue him, and then the judge ordered them to pay him $5,000. Okay, the judge should have made them pay him $500,000, or at the very least, made them pay his entire legal fees. Because how dare they? Like, he got your children home safe. Let me tell y'all something. Many people, I'm not going to say any other person specifically, but I believe that probably most people, if they have been driving a vehicle and a flying rock flying with that amount of speed hit them in the ribs and hit them and broke 5 of their ribs, they may have just passed out. The man literally almost did, but he was able to pull over safely. So shout out to him. They should be singing his praises that their children were not, seriously injured. A little bump on the head, but at the end of the day, he got the job done. Because if that had been me, I don't know how that would have turned out. 5 broken ribs? This is all crazy. Okay, Natasha said control the bus. Exactly. Ashkan said their kids should be forced to walk even through college. Not walk even through college. Okay, so Eager Beaver says, "Oh wow, that's horrible. My dad almost died after someone did that. The person who threw it was never caught." Are you serious? That's awful. Do you all remember? You all probably don't. This was so long ago. I can't remember. This was probably like 15 or 20 years ago. There was these 2 kids, might have been 3 of them, but they don't look like me. Okay. And I have to bring that up because, they always want to say that Black kids are the thugs, but they don't ever talk about the thuggery of it all for them. But they were standing on an overpass, right? And they were throwing rocks, big, huge rocks at the cars below, and they threw this rock perfectly, okay, and it landed on this car, hit the windshield. The driver couldn't see, had a crash, and died. Now, I don't think they charged them with murder, as I can recall, but they should have. They were like 17 years old, 16 to 17 years old. I found it all interesting. Here it is right here. Teens throw rock and kill a man. This was in 2019. Oh my God, I thought it was so much longer than that. But let me see what they got sentenced to. 4 teens, yep. It was 4 of them. Doing this stuff, they were literally laughing. Who in the hell thinks that's funny? Okay? Who thinks, and let's go to their faces. This was literally 6 years ago. I don't know why it seems like it was longer ago, but they were on I-75. Let me share my screen. They probably all got probation because look at their faces. Look at those cute little old faces. I know they treated them like they were so innocent. So they're just boys being boys.
Teenagers accused of throwing rocks off an I-75 overpass and killing a man.
4 or 5 teens who took plea deals for reduced charges were sentenced to adult prison. 7 Action News reporter Jim Kurtzner with more on what happened inside the courtroom.
The 4 teens in court today were ages 15 to 17 years old when this happened. Their defense attorneys tried to convince the judge they should be sentenced as juveniles. The judge dramatically disagreed.
The proposal for juvenile sentencing is rejected.
That applause came from the family of the young man killed. It was October of 2017 when 5 teens threw rocks onto I-75, a game they called overpassing. 4 teens in court today have been held in juvenile detention since it happened, and they were all students at Clio High School. They were originally charged with second-degree murder, but pleaded guilty to a reduced charge of manslaughter. The sentence sends them to adult prison. 32-year-old Kenneth White was killed when a 6-pound rock crashed through the windshield in the car he was riding in.
Kenneth is getting his justice he deserves. My baby he's happy now. He can rest.
The evidence and testimony in the case pointed to 18-year-old Kyle Anger as the one who planned the prank. loaded up his pickup with the rocks and threw the rock that killed. He pleaded guilty to second-degree murder and now faces several more years in prison when he is sentenced at a later date. The judge today giving defense attorneys for the 4 teens today until August the 20th to withdraw their pleas after a sentence they're now calling political and emotional.
Rulings like this get people elected.
You
That's
think
the
it's
bottom
political
line.
then?
I think laws of treating juveniles as adults is political.
Yo, really? Bet you he doesn't say that when it's a black teenager doing something equally as nefarious. Is he serious? A man lost his life. That man had a child. He had his whole life ahead of him. And he was a young person. Okay, that man was probably in his 30s. Just took him up out of here because they want to be stupid and play stupid games. They got exactly what they deserved. Okay, they're probably out already.
Whims and the emotions of the family, which I understand.
If the 4 teens stay with this sentence, they could be out of prison sometime next year. The judge giving them credit for time served, 21 months. But that's also several months inside an adult prison. Jim Kurtzner, 7 Action News.
That's nothing. Okay, that still was nothing. I guarantee you they're out right now. Let me see. Let me see that I'm out of here. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. I have to find out because I guarantee you they're already out. I mean, their lawyers seem to have thought they shouldn't get any consequences and talk about it's political. Absolutely crazy. Yes, they are out. And that happened in 2017. So the trial was in 2019. Okay, so anyway, it says, and that man was 32 years old, 32-year-old Kenneth White. Okay, so let me see what the gist of it is. One of the 14s who threw the fatal rock got a longer prison sentence, years in prison. The other 4, some served time already in juvenile and adult detention, later received probation or additional limited jail time after credit for time served. At least one had additional jail time around a year. After you took somebody's life, let me tell y'all something. See, this system works exactly the way they want it to. Most had already served their sentences or were released after the time served and probation with probation conditions. I told you they didn't get anything near what they should have gotten, okay? Slaps on the wrist. That's it. And they took that man's whole life. Okay? And if that man had been my son, honey, I'd be the one in prison, not them. Okay? I'd be in prison. They would be free. Well, they wouldn't be free. They wouldn't be in prison, though. That's what they wouldn't be. Okay, so with that all being said, everyone, please like and share. Thank you for tuning in once again. All right, I love you all to life. I hope you enjoy the rest of this beautiful day. Each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember, beloveds, to keep the Most High first in your lives. Now, I don't think I'll be back tonight unless something pops off, like something drastic, some breaking news maybe, but other than that, I won't be back, and I'll see you all tomorrow, okay, around 11 or 11:30. So until then, and if you don't get the notification, just check the channel or check my X accounts or check my YouTube tabs or my YouTube community tabs, because I always post the links. Okay, and if you're having a problem getting the links or getting the notifications, you can send me an email. Let me know what your name is in the chats. In the email, just a brief email saying, Queen, can you email me the link? Because some of you, I email you the links every day. Okay, so with that being said, love you all to life. And I will talk to you all again soon. Until next time, beloveds. Peace.
Hey, yo, Nick, hit him with that flavor. Gold all in my skin, God all in my blood.
Kings all in my circle, you touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen, why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunta. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. See a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all at Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threats. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece, this time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood. Kings all in my circle, you touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen, why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood. Kings all in my circle, you touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen, why they hating on me?